welcome to the podcast that buffs your Hearthstone game. This is Velen's Chosen.
Not all who wander are lost.
Greetings, visionaries, and welcome to Velen's Chosen. Whether you're a competitive player, an arena specialist, a deck-building visionary, or just like having a bit of fun, we can help you buff your game and achieve your Hearthstone goals. I am Grant Gould, the first host that you will be hearing today. And today we have a very special guest as we dive deep into the new card reveals from Rise of Shadows. But first, before we greet our guest, I'm going to kick it on over to our wonderful Canadian, Eve Martin. Eve, how you doing this evening?
Good. I feel like this episode is the first time we've had like a really big dump of cards. The last couple of episodes have been like, it's a decent amount. We can handle this. It's not too overwhelming. And then today is quite a large amount of cards. So we're going to do our best to make it interesting and fun.
Yeah, it's a big dump. Joining me on the same side of the country continent that Eve is on, but quite far from where I'm at, is our very special guest. You may know him as former host of Into the Wild podcast, Nate Wolfe. Welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. I haven't done a podcast in a while, so I'm excited and a good chance to talk about all the new cards. I've been watching, excited every day as they come out, and so it'll be a good opportunity to talk about them. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, I figured it was about time for you to dust off your podcasting chops, and kind of anxious to hear your opinions on some of the cards. And you have, even though you don't do the show Into the Wild anymore, you're still very active in the Twitter sphere and in the Hearthstone community. So I think we can have a pretty sweet discussion. But before we get into cards, Nate, let's let our listeners who may not know you get to know you just a little bit more. Standard questions, nothing too serious, no political, no religious questions, here. So, Nate, how did you get into gaming in general, and then what kind of led you into wanting to play Hearthstone seriously?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So gaming in general, I think I've had a computer ever since I was a little kid. So I played all the old. I started off gaming with all the computer games, the classic Sierra games. So I played King's Quest, Space Quest. I played Wolfenstein 3D when it came out on floppy disk.
Nice, I remember that game. Oh yeah.
And then I had played a lot of the old classic Blizzard games. So your Warcraft 1 and 2. Tides of Darkness, which I saw actually just re-released by GOG yesterday, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't played Warcraft 2, you can buy it now, and it works on modern computers. It's super fun. But I played those a ton, and a lot of old adventure games, all the old Blizzard stuff. So your Diablo 1 and the expansion Diablo 2, a lot of that. I think my favorite genre was always like your point and click adventure game. So King's Quest style, a lot of fun. And as far as Hearthstone goes, I had played a little bit of Magic, not a lot. I remember back in like junior high when Magic came out. I'm totally aging myself, but played a little bit way back when, and then just let it drop off the table. My little brother is 12 and a half years younger than me, and he plays quite a bit. We live in different states, but we play when we get together. But what we would always do, the cards are so expensive, we would print proxies. So we went down to the card shop, bought a whole bunch of 5-cent lands and sleeves, and then went online and printed out card art and cut them out, slid them in on top. And we'd play full decks with all the expensive cards, but they're printed out on mom's printer. It was
Poor
great.
man's magic.
Yes, it was.
My
it was a lot
nephew
of
would
fun.
make his own. He just got inspired by Magic the Gathering, and then didn't have the money to get them, and his parents were not so supportive of his wanting to get them anyway.
No. Yes,
so he just started drawing and making his own, like using one as a template, and then just putting in his own pictures and his own abilities and things like that. That's cool.
That's awesome. We played Commander, which if you're not familiar with it, it's basically like like a singleton
it's-
deck or whatever.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
singleton.
so when Reno Jackson came out and Kazakas and all of these, you can only have one of. I was already familiar with that format. Like, hey, this is great. And as primarily a wild player, I think I get all excited the more expansions we get. It's really easy to build Reno Jackson decks. I mean, there's so many cards now that. So yeah, it's a
So
lot of fun.
Commander really is just like a singleton deck. Is that the only difference between
Well,
it and
so
like playing regular
it's
Magic?
sort of. So normal Magic decks, what is it? 60 cards, right? And you can have 4 of.
60 minimum. Yeah.
60 minimum. You can have 4 of. So Hearthstone, you have 2. Magic, you can have 4, with the exception of your like legendaries or whatever they call them.
You only get one of, right?
What they called mythics.
Mythic rare.
Well, if they're named,
epic, I don't know.
yeah, you only get one of.
And then your planeswalkers. But so in Commander, you have 100 cards, one ofs, and then you have a commander, and that commander is like it sits off to the side, and you can pay its mana cost and play it, you know, whenever. And if it dies, it doesn't go back in your deck. It kind of goes back on the sideboard, and you can resurrect it, if you will, but you have to pay more mana each time it dies, and you bring it back, you pay more and more. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and we got playing that way. When Hearthstone had came out, like we had been playing Magic for a while, and Hearthstone came out. My brother was playing got in the open beta, and at that time he'd been playing WoW for 10 years or whatever, and had tried to get me into that, but I was in college and then I was in law school, and trying to find the time to invest in it was just impossible.
Yeah, no, that is
so I
such
never
a time
did,
suck
and
of a game.
yes, and he's telling me, well, you should play Hearthstone. It's really fun. Like, look, I don't. You just got me back into Magic, and it's fun, but I don't have time for another card game. But going over to my folks' house, and he was living there, and he showed me. I'm like, oh, this looks fun. And I loved the thing. I think that really got me into Hearthstone was that it's very whimsical. I loved all the interactions between, on the board. You can click all the little things. The rocket launches, and the gate comes down, and the Griffith flaps its wings, and all that stuff. It's very fun. And then you play the cards, and they make sounds when you play them and when they die. And it felt very Warcraft 2 to me. And it was just very fun. And it was free. I started playing it, and I picked it up really easy. It was a lot of fun, and I got kind of hooked. So you
as a Magic the
then.
Gathering player would be able to tell all of our listeners, you have no idea how expensive card games can be.
Oh, Magic is prohibitively expensive.
Like when they complain about how expensive Hearthstone is to keep
Hearthstone
up and to
is
have
cheap.
cards. Yeah, exactly.
Hearthstone is super cheap.
Listen to the man.
Yes. And I haven't played Magic in ages, but it's really expensive. You have to buy the card packs. And I think where we have the true benefit is as digital cards, they really made it easy to collect. I think the difficult thing in Magic with the physical cards is if there's one card that's really good and it's really rare, the price for it skyrockets. So you can pay, $50, $60, $100 for one card. Where in Hearthstone, everybody has equal access. I mean, a legend is a legend. So 1,600 dust and you can craft anything.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And it doesn't, you don't have to have anything special. And if you don't open it in a pack, you can craft it. And I mean, it's not, I'm not free to play. I invest money in it. I've got a full collection, but at the same time, it's not that bad. I'm to the point now where I will buy the pre-order and save up enough gold and dust in between sets to get most of everything.
That's about where I'm at too. Yeah.
So I think, I can spend, so for this, I haven't pre-ordered yet, but I will probably end up getting both pre-orders. Between that and then the dust and gold I have saved up, it should be enough to get the whole set, or very close to it.
And the other thing with Magic the Gathering is if you get like a bunch of commons and a bunch of doubles, like that's it. There's not really a way you can trade those in for better cards or dust them, and be able to take that. Yeah.
Right.
And you're like,
no, and they're not, and
you
they're
could give
pretty
them to
much
someone
worthless.
else, but yeah, exactly. And you have so many lands that just pile up over all the packs that you open and stuff that eventually you end up with just a bunch of cards that nobody wants and you can't use, and you might as well recycle.
Right. I mean, I will say if you're interested in playing Magic, MTG Arena came out not too long ago. It's free to play, and they give you a lot of free stuff. So if you want to try it out, it's fun. And they have things called Wildcards of the different rarities, and you can basically it's a free craft of whatever that rarity is. So it's cool.
Cool.
But yeah, I've been playing Hearthstone since Goblins versus Gnomes, right around the time Naxxramas came out. And I've been playing ever since. It's a lot of fun. I'm kind of a collector by nature, and so when the sets rotated, I think a lot of my favorite cards are from Nax, and so I didn't want it. Like I wasn't gonna dust Kel'Thuzad and Sludge Belchers and all that stuff. I mean, and Lotheb's one of my favorite cards.
Yes.
And so I just kept them. It was a kind of a no-brainer for me, and I get sad every time there's a big set rotation, every time there's a new year, and people will dust their entire collection so they can get the new standard cards, and I cry a little bit. And
Yeah.
I see people regret it. Is what happens is they dust everything and then realize like, oh, I can never open that in a pack again. Especially the expansion or the adventure cards. You're not going to open in a pack. You've got to craft them if you want them, and seen people regret that. But anyways, this game is very fun. I started out kind of playing casually and got a little more competitive. I hit Wild Legends for the first time right around the time Eve did. I think it was a couple weeks after.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that on your show when it happened.
Yeah, so when we had, we've had both of you guys on our show. When Eve hit Wild Legend with Secret Paladin, it was like an aggro Secret Paladin.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because her and Craig were giving me a hard time. Craig's telling me, you can't come on the show until, you're kicked off the show until you hit Legend. I hit it within 2 weeks of him saying that. So
good motivation.
It was good.
Fat bet.
But it was such a big stress relief to be able to say, okay, hit Legend and there's no pressure anymore. If I hit it, I hit it great. Again. And if I don't, no big deal. What I will say is that there's not a... there's no real incentive for me, I think, to hit it multiple times, just because the reward for rank 5 is so similar to the Legend reward.
Yeah.
That so now I work quite a bit and I play pretty casually. I hit rank 5 every month pretty early usually, but not. I hit rank 5 and then I kind of meme out for the rest of the month.
So you're not interested in sitting at rank 3 for like 2 weeks straight, are you?
I've been sitting at rank 4 for 2 weeks, if that counts. But
I've spent most of the month sitting at rank 3, just sitting there, like going up to the top rank 3 to the bottom, but not leaving and just staying there. I'm in rank 2 right now. I think the competition towards the last couple of days gets a little bit less stiff.
I will say I think it's a little easier towards the very end of the month, and I also think that it's. This is pure speculation, but I think it's probably a little bit easier right before rotation or right before a new set comes out, because people are a little bored with the current cards and are playing a little bit less. When I think when I hit Wild Legend, or when Craig hit Wild Legend, he was within top 100 or right outside of it. If you're playing when like the Wild Open's going on, you hit Legend and you're in the 800 somewhere.
Sure.
So it's different depending on when you play, but...
Well, the first time I ever hit Wild Legend, I was at rank 72. Like, I hit it top 100 already, like, first time I ever did it.
I hit 6.
And it was like, and it didn't stay there very long, but I was there for a little while. Like, I stayed in the top 100 for about a week, but...
Doesn't that feel good, though, to say you were in top 100 Legend?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's just a number.
I was in top 10, so that...
Yeah, Eve was in the top 10 that same month. At the time, it's funny. That's true. I didn't think about that, because Eve was like hitting like rank 6. Like, she was way up there, and she was hanging there for a long time. And we were like, go for number 1, go for number 1.
And then I fell all the way back down to 80. I was like,
yeah, but still, like, I was thinking like rank 72, nothing. Eve's at rank 6, so I wasn't even thinking that was even any kind of good. But now it's like, oh, I guess that was all right,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Don't compare yourself to me.
But Nate, so I'm curious. So this is kind of like my morbid curiosity, but like, you used to be, well, let's put it this way. You have 2 parents on the show. I know you're a parent. And I'm just curious to know, like, you kind of had to give up the podcasting gig for let's just say indefinitely. Um, and I was just curious to know, like, what were your reasonings for that, if you don't mind talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to. I guess I have the tendency to take on too much,
Mm,
and um, so I'm married. I have a kid. He's 7 years old.
mm,
I work full time and doing the podcast on the side, and it was sustainable for a while. The podcast was super fun, and I really enjoyed
mm,
doing it. I got a new job, is kind of what happened, and it was a
mm,
big promotion for me. Um, and now, instead of being in charge of a small unit, I'm in charge of the entire, you know, court system for the city. And
mm.
there's just a lot of stress, a lot of work, a lot of new things where um, I'm in charge of an entire department versus in charge of, a handful of people. Um, a lot of learning and a lot of, I mean, right off the bat, they were sending me to 3 different conferences and, um, hey, you got to brief the mayor on this stuff next week. And I was like, oh my goodness, what, it's just a lot of added stress, a lot of added,
Mm,
learning new stuff and a lot of more responsibility.
mm,
And something kind of had to give where I've got competing interests between work, having to learn, family, and trying to, eat and sleep a little bit.
That comes
Life
last.
sustaining activities, just those small
I mean,
things.
I can I can survive on coffee for quite a long time, but
True story.
I think as a quality of life thing, I had a lot of fun doing it, but if something had to go, family takes priority, and
Sure.
so
Yeah.
at some point I was, this podcast is super fun, and I don't want to leave anyone in the lurch, but I can't sustain it any longer. Part of it, in hindsight, we ran. So United Hearthstone League was going on kind of in the off season, and then we did a
Mhm.
wild league, and I think that was sort of the nail in the coffin in hindsight, because we went for like, was it 8-10 weeks or something of
Yeah.
5-6 games a week that were all streamed and all casted, and then we put them all on YouTube, and that, trying to coordinate that, write all the rules, get all the players, get all the casters, do all the stuff on Twitch and all the
Whew.
graphics
Yeah.
That's a
That's a
lot.
full-time
top
That's a
of-
job.
lot.
on top of working. I think that was like it took a couple years off my life. And, it was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of help. But in hindsight, it was the timing, I think, was kind of bad, and it would have done it a little bit differently if I had to do it over. But
So did you find yourself kind of in that frame of mind? It's like, man, I really like this game, but I don't have time for this game. Like I can't do it the way I want to. And you feel like, do you ever feel like a conflict, an intellectual, emotional dissonance, because you say there's something you love or something you want to do, but there's all this other stuff that says, no, you need to do this. And then so the game's kind of encroaching on that. Did you ever feel that way, or something like,
a little bit. I think there's you have to kind of take a look at yourself and assess your priorities and think
Mm.
about what do I want to do versus what do I have to do. I had a good talk with Andrew Brown about this. It's kind of like prioritizing your life. The game is fun, but real life takes priority. And as much fun as it would be to be a podcaster full time, a streamer full time, or play Hearthstone for a living, like, it's just not realistic.
right?
It's fun to see the small handful of people that can do that for a career. But like, I've already got an established career and family and all this stuff, and the game is fun, but at some point, like, something had to give. There was no way to sustain podcasting full time, playing as much as I want to play, working and family life and everything. And so when something had to go, it was like, okay, well, it'll have to be Hearthstone to some extent. I mean, I still play.
Oh, I
I
know,
play,
yeah.
a lot more casually, but
Do you find, like, now that you've kind of, like, okay, you kind of made the decision, I'm gonna step away from this heavy involvement. Do you find you enjoy the game more than maybe you used to, or about the same? Has it changed much? Or?
I'll tell you what I think did it for me more than anything else was being able to hit legend. Like that was my goal for such a long time. Was like I want to hit legend. I want to hit legend, and it was so funny because we had all these guests on the show that are all wild, like high legend players that we're getting tips from. I remember on the weekend I'm getting coached by Jonah. It was like the weekend before he played in the Wild Open, and it was just kind of starstruck. I'm like, this is really cool to have access to players of this caliber and learning a lot and meeting a lot of people. And I wanted to hit legend so bad. I think I was trying too hard. And once I hit it, all the pressure went away. And then I got that ugly brown card back. And then I hit, like I have all 9 golden classes, and I was like, okay, well,
you beat the game.
I beat the game. So
now you can just play it when you want, how you want, as often as you want, and it's
right.
all
Now,
up to
now
you,
I can just have
no
fun.
Pressure. Yep, I hear you. I feel you. That's exactly how I feel.
The only reason I hit rank 5 is so that I can get my I want my golden epic, and I feel bad because I dust them all.
Oh, I dust all mine too. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. That's the economic way to play, baby.
I craft golden hero cards, and that's it. I feel like I spent too much time grinding out all of my golden heroes that it makes me mad when I play one of the hero cards and the hero power turns wooden again. Like, no.
That's hilarious.
No,
isn't that awful? Like that's very maybe OCD of me, but I crafted all of the golden Death Knights, and I crafted golden Zul'jin with the last set, golden Hagatha, and so I guess they said that there's no golden or there's no hero cards with this set, so I guess I'm off the hook for a little while.
Yeah, you're off the hook. They just decided to make them minions again, so Dr. Boom and Hagatha and stuff like that. Cool. So Nate, let's do a couple quick like rapid fire questions. What is your, just like Hearthstone related questions? What is your favorite card of all time?
Oh God, this is the one that I always ask everyone that would come on our show. I think
turnabout's fair play.
Yeah. N'Zoth is one of my favorites for sure. I like the super greedy Death Rattle decks. I mean, N'Zoth is one of my favorites. Ragnaros has always been one of my favorites.
Solid card, yeah. What's your favorite deck of all time? Like any era of Hearthstone, like the deck, like man, when you were running it, you were just jamming. It could be anything. Good deck, bad deck, whatever.
My fallback is always Q Block. I love it.
That's your jam.
I love it. I'm good at it. Some people like different things. That deck just clicked with me. And it's funny because I dabble. I mostly play Wild. I dabble in Standard, and I've been playing it in both. So I'm sitting at rank 4 in Wild right now with Wild, Q Block, kind of my own build of it.
With Mal'Ganis and stuff. Sense Demons, all that good stuff.
Yeah, with Sense Demons and Mal'Ganis, and mine's a little bit greedier. So I'm playing. I added Sylvanas and N'Zoth. And so there's kind of a secondary win con. And then I'm playing Q Block in Standard at rank 10, and the deck is awful. Like I feel like I'm playing with one hand tied behind my back. Like all the good cards are in Wild.
Yeah, true.
But that deck is my jam. I think the Gul'dan Death Knight is super fun. I love it. And
what's your favorite card back? I know you're like a card back connoisseur. You try to get them all. So what's your favorite one, if you had to pick? And you can't say the legend one because that doesn't count.
Well, he just said it's ugly.
The legend one
is not his favorite.
It's hideous. I think one of my favorite card back probably is the Tespa one. I love it.
That's a good one.
Is it because it's so rare? Is that part of the reason?
It's also like it's just beautiful. I don't know what else to say. It's got
kind
that
of elegant
kind of golden everywhere with a little bit of pink, and it's just really pretty. It's kind elegant. Of a funny story how I got it. And maybe this will work for you guys or your listeners. I was disappointed, right? Because in order to get the Tespa card back, you have to join Tespa. Well, there's two options, right? Number one, join Tespa. You pay $20 annual dues, and you get the card back, and you get a bunch of other in-game stuff for StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm and what other maybe I think there's something for WoW. And the other way is in any of the Team Tespa events to tweet out your questions. And if they read them live on the air, then they gift you the card back. And so I have been trying to do that and never get it. And so and at this point, like I had already graduated college a long time ago, and there's no way I'm going to like it. I mean, this is how bad I wanted. The thought crossed my mind, like maybe I should enroll in like the local community college and take one class so that I can get my email and sign up for TESPA. Like this is how bad it was. And I thought, no, number one, my wife will murder me. And number two, like how much money am I willing to pay for the stupid card back? And then you go on eBay and you can buy, supposedly people have the codes, you can spend $200 or something. It's just not going to happen. And so I reached out to my law school just on a whim, and I emailed them and I said, hey, any chance you can reactivate my student email? Because I want to use it. And I thought they were going to either not respond or they were going to say no. And they wrote me back almost immediately and said, okay. And so they turned it back on. I got free Amazon Prime and signed up for TESPA and just joined. And so for your $20 fee for TESPA, you get a giant mouse pad, you get a t-shirt, you get a magnet, and then in-game goodies for
bro. I'm calling Rice University tomorrow.
Right? It was very worth it.
Life hacks on our show. That's awesome.
I paid them so much money that I don't feel bad about it at all. That's the least they could do for me. I'm going to be paying student loans for probably the rest of my life. So the least they could do is hook me up with this card back.
Yes, amen. So listeners, there you go. You want TESPA card back? Nate Wolfe just gave you the life hack. Cool.
If you ever wondered what a collector was, this is in the dictionary under collector. There's a picture of Nate's face.
Right. What's sad is like we keep asking the devs like, hey, how can we get old card backs? Because I didn't start until it was GVG, and so the first year or so, whatever, year and a half.
Ice Crown's my earliest one.
My first card back is the Ninja one.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And
the only one I missed was the Miss of Pandaria one. That's the only one.
So the very first one?
Yeah, I've got all the rest.
And the sad part is I was playing before that and I just didn't know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, ditto.
And didn't know what you needed to do to get it. Yeah.
No, and it feels bad. And so we keep asking like, hey, can we get the old card backs? And there's an argument. There's arguments for both ways, right? I can put on my little attorney hat and argue at both sides. On one side, like it feels bad to, I want the old card backs, and as a collector, like we should be able to get those, and it feels bad to people who don't have them, and I want to get it. And on the other hand, it's almost more. I don't know, it's more respectable or more rare or more valuable or whatever you want to call it when you see someone playing like the Rainbow card back or the Pandaria card back, where it's like, hey, I've been playing since season 1, versus anybody, you can hit Legend tomorrow and get the Legend card back. Like anybody can get that.
Yeah. There's just a little bit of a badge of honor with like, look, I've been playing the game so long, I have all this loot that you don't have.
Right. Yeah. It's a status thing.
This is what I think that they should do, devs. If you're listening to the show, make it something that is maybe collection tied. Like if you own all of the cards from that expansion from that year because you've crafted them or because you've opened them from packs, then that should unlock the card back for you. So it can be tied to something about like, I didn't just go out and buy this or do something. It's like, I'm a collector, I'm invested, I do all the things, and my reward is I get the card back. So you have all the Nax cards, you get that, you know, everything from that year of expansions. If you have all of the cards in your collection, then that should unlock the card back. Because they've talked about making it difficult enough that it would still be a badge of honor. It would still be like, I legit put time into this and I earned it. So, but not so much so that people like felt like they had to go and do something that they didn't want to do. Because if you're a collector, you're already doing that to begin with.
Yeah.
I want that shiny gold one that none of us are ever gonna get.
Oh, the golden celebration one, yeah.
Yeah, I've
You know, I
given up
want-
on a couple that I know I'm never going to get, but something within like my grasp should be the Pandaria card back. There should be a way to work towards getting that one.
There should be. I'd like to see card backs based on how many wins you have, and when you open up your client, it shows like you have. People tweet about that, like, yeah, hey, I just hit 10,000 wins, or I just hit 20,000 wins, or 4,000 wins, or whatever. They should have like every 1,000 wins you get, or like every mile marker that you should get some kind of like badge of honor, or like years played. Like, yes, you've been playing Hearthstone, you have an active count for 4 years now, or you've had an active account. That would be cool stuff too, because that would kind of demarcate like that you've been playing for a while, that you're serious about the game.
Well, I see.
And then
We've
people
talked
who
about
aren't serious
achievement
don't get
points
it.
before, right? Like achievement points
Yeah.
would be so easy to put into the game and just be like, won 500 games with Hunter, won 500 games with, or
That'd be
even
awesome.
like played this many spells, or, and just have a tracking of all of these different things to work towards for people like me and Nate who just like to do all the things and get all the things.
Right.
It gives
Yeah.
us a reason to
can-
continue playing after you hit legend.
Yeah. Every once in a while they talk about, could we do a platinum hero power instead of gold for 1,000 wins? Or I'm about 100 away from 10,000. So
Nice.
I still play a lot. It's just a lot of
Yeah.
I play bad decks. I play good decks until I hit rank 5, and then I play bad decks.
I am easy to
Yeah, you're
please.
one of
Like, I
those
don't even
guys.
need a reward. All I need is a little thing that says,
Evolve.
win 500 games with Hunter, and a checkbox next to it that's checked, and then maybe a number associated with that, and I'm good. Like,
I remember how disappointed I was that you unlock the achievement. It's you collected every single card in the game. Here's 100
Have
gold.
100 gold.
oh
Right.
my God. Like, that's one
that's
card pack.
disappointing.
That's, yeah.
It was cool. I can get a card pack that has.
You know what's
cards in
funny
it
about
I
that is
already have.
when I first started playing Hearthstone back in the first couple months the game was out, like I got super like, okay, how do I get all the things? How do I get the gold? What can I unlock? And that's where I learned how to unlock Murkai and other things like that. And it's like, yeah, and if you get every card, at least one of each card in the classic set, you get 100 gold. And the guy in the comment on the YouTube video was like, why 100? I already have all the cards, so why do I need more gold to buy more cards that I already have?
Right?
And I was like,
Yeah, should be a card
shouldn't
back.
there be something a little
right?
different, or something less monetary about that? Something more like a star by your name? I don't know.
Right.
You
I
should get a
think
card
one of
back.
the really cool things that they used to do that they haven't done in a long time was like you collect all the pirates, you get Captain's
Parrot,
Parrot.
Captain's
you collect all the
Yes.
Murlocs, you get Old Murkai. And
You
and
collect
that
all the
was super
mechs,
cool.
you get, yeah, there should be something to get.
You get Boomy the Boombot. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean that was fun. That was a neat thing, and they just don't
Yeah.
do that anymore.
Well,
they
we should
somehow
bring it
got
to
in
their
mind They don't want
attention.
people to feel bad, so I don't know.
No. We should bring it to their attention because there's a lot of different kinds of people who play games for different reasons. And Hearthstone is trying to cater to all of these different people, like the competitive ones and the collectors and the people who just like to have fun and randomness. And they're doing a pretty good job. And just say, hey, for us collector people, we like achievement points. We like things where it's like, if you collect all these things, then X happens, or you get a title, or you get a number, or like these things aren't, I don't think it's too difficult to put those into the game versus like changing the entire ladder for the PvP people who are like, we don't like the way ladder works. Like that's a lot harder than put a couple achievements in the game for those people who like to collect.
Right. I mean, they do a really good job of tailoring the game to new players and free-to-play players, and I respect that on some level.
But they're
But
not
at the
even going
same
to
time-
notice. Like the new players aren't even going to know this stuff exists. And that's
Right.
fine. It'll be only after they get deep into the game and they discover it. So I don't think it's something that would scare them off or confuse them or whatever, because it'll be under layers that they don't even know are there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think as a player, like that's been playing the game for 4 years or 5 years or however long it's been around, like there's not a whole lot of reward left for us.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that being
Not a
said,
lot.
it's still a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And so when I look at like all these new cards are coming out, they're doing card reveals every day. And I look at it from a Wild perspective and say, how can I abuse this card in Wild? And so,
True story, bro.
and so some of these, like, I'm very excited for.
Yes.
Where I have I will tell you right now, if we start talking about the new cards, I will have a difficult time. Like, when rotation happens, I don't know what's rotating and what's not. Like, because I think about all the cards as
You're
opposed
getting
to,
them all. You can all keep playing them all forever, so it doesn't matter to you.
Exactly. Yes, and that makes me happy. I just feel like my pool is getting even larger and larger. I feel like Scrooge McDuck swimming around in the money.
Nice.
Like, I just have
Dude, off your
swimming around in
diving
the
board.
cards, and there's so. And so when I see cards like this, you choose one, you get both now. I'm like, oh, cool, Jade stuff, or whatever.
Oh my god.
Where I think all the standard players they don't think about the old sets or the old broken interactions.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
anyways, I'm very
I think-
excited. I'm very happy to be here. I miss doing podcasts. I'm confident that I did the right thing in giving up the show. I feel very sad about it from time to time, but I'm excited to be here with you guys. So,
well, let's dive into it. We're gonna there wasn't much news this week because really the best news at this time of the year is what cards did they release this week, and are they any good? And is the player base tilting off the planet because of certain priest cards? So let's kick it off and let's go into. We have I don't even know how many we have. We have 30 something. I don't know exactly.
We have a
So
lot of
listeners,
cards.
If you want to,
So let's
we have a
get
lot.
into it. Yeah.
And some of them we're going to dignify with a lot of comments. Some of them we're just going to kind of go, okay, all right, that's a card, and we go on. So
And for everything, we're just going to say, wait and see. Wait and see.
yeah,
I think that's the best advice, and I'm guilty of it myself when we see Priest Resurrect effects going like, oh my god, not again. But when we've only seen a fraction of the collection, like, we all just need to chill a little bit.
The thing that's
Let's
like
all
making
approach
me
it like
super
adults.
excited about this expansion so far, and that I think I'm not a pro, but I think it's probably going to bug the pros, is all of these cards that just randomly pull cards out of your deck in your hand.
I love it. I
love it so much because this makes another way to play that is different every single game. And that's
Yeah.
what we need to keep things fresh. But wouldn't that be really frustrated for somebody who is like trying to plan out as best they can every turn and all the odds, and then these things just happening and you have no control over them? That must really be frustrating for those kind of players that are just like, trying
Well,
to take
it's
all the odds
agency.
out.
I don't know that it's frustrating when it gives somebody an agency. Like, oh,
True,
you
true.
have that one card that you don't want me to pull out of your deck. Guess what? Yoink. And now you just lost your win con. That's...
I think it's there's a lot of strategy involved. So Dirty Rat is a card, right? And I think that's a lot of the new ones have that same style where you're pulling something out of your opponent's deck, but it's risky. Like, it could totally backfire on you. I mean, I could
It's true.
pull their Reno Jackson or their N'Zoth or pull a Doomsayer or something like that. But I could also pull out a Tyrion and go, oh, oops.
Ouch.
Or
And
it's Velen. I did that. I pulled a Velen out on accident and lost on turn 4. They were like, oh, thanks. I'll burn your face down now. Thanks for not making me have to wait till turn 10.
Yeah, you kind of want to have like the pull out and then also something in hand for the I'm going to deal with whatever comes down at the same time.
Right. I think there's skill testing. And so that's what I like about it. Hearthstone inherently, and people will always complain about this, there's a big random factor in Hearthstone, and that is part of the game at its core that we're never going to get around. I mean, we always find ways, right? I mean, if I'm playing, Vol'jin, I'm always going to play spells that I know what they're going to do or I have a lot of control over. But Hearthstone at its core is RNG based. But there's a lot of strategy involved in how you use these, and so I think it's skill testing, and I'm excited to see how the pros are going to use these new cards.
And I think it's less frustrating than like Babbling Brook. Babbling Book.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
there was nothing. I remember watching the world, finals or whatever, of Pavel against Amnesiac and pulling, Babbling Book, Babbling Book,
Babbling Book.
And what did he pull? A polymorph or a fireball or whatever it was. It was the exact card that he needed to, Pavel should have lost and ended up winning based off of total random, and that felt bad. And I think that, that kind of has left a bad taste in people's mouth. But at the same time, some of these effects are super cool.
I think this
Paveling
one
down,
is
right?
like you put that card in your deck, you put that spell in your deck. So even though I'm doing this with these different cards of pulling them out and playing them before you want to, it's still within the realm of what you have access to and what I have access to, and we both have a chance to react to it. So I think that's kind of less than just like I get a random card and another random card and another random card, and you have no idea what I have, and I could do anything. So I think it's a little more controllable randomness.
I think so too. And if you want to play random, I mean, you every once in a while I get bored and I'll go on casual ladder and I'll play Casino Mage or Thief Rogue or something like that, and just full RNG, and that can be fun. Not always very competitive, but I like the flavor. I really like the flavor of this new set. I've heard people complain, and people are always going to complain. Like, nobody's going to be happy all the time, but I love seeing the old, new iterations of old cards. So we have Rafam coming back, Hagatha coming back, Dr. Boom coming back, and I love that. And part of it, I think, for me, as coming from a Magic background, you'll see reprints all the time.
Yes.
Same card, different art, or whatever. And so when we get these, I'm excited to go into Wild and play a deck with all 3 Dr. Booms in it. And so I am looking forward to this bomb deck, and I will be dusting off my Iron Juggernaut, and I'm very excited for that.
Yes, I have, for the first time in my life, really viably considered crafting an Iron Juggernaut, even though I hate playing Warrior. So,
Yes.
Hey, let's get into the cards now, guys. Let's
Sorry,
start kicking
I could
them
talk
off.
all night about this stuff.
We
You go
have
first, Grant.
given a... Okay, all right. So the first card on our roster is Never Surrender. Paladin common spell. Only costs 1 mana because it's a secret. When your opponent casts a spell, give your minions +2 health.
So this
that's-
happens before their spell triggers? Like if they're about to do a consecration, all of my minions get +2 health first, and then the spell goes off?
I think that's how the stat goes. Yeah, so
I
they
think
go
so.
to cast it, and because secrets are reactive, then the secret triggers, just like counterspell stops the spell from happening.
Right.
Right.
So, and then your minions have +2 health. So
They
could be
might
good.
just outlive whatever AoE they were casting if they were casting
It
an
could.
AoE.
I could see this being viable in your Odd Paladin type.
Yeah.
Except for
Odd
Odd Paladin.
The
That's going to
problem with that
Wild,
is
sorry.
Odd Paladin's a thing in Wild now. It's not going anywhere until they nerf Baku and Gen into the ground. Because Odd Paladin, okay, you want to clear my dudes? Okay, whatever. I'll just populate the board again real fast. No big deal. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it'll see much play, just unless you have some compelling reason to do that. Maybe you can do that, and then next turn you play a Void Ripper and then just smash him in the face or something. I don't know. It could be. It can see some play, but I don't know that it's necessarily I'm gonna go tinker with this card right now.
I don't
Just my
think it's. I mean, and I will say, I when we do card reviews, I always look at it through a Wild lens, and there's so many good broken cards in Wild that we say is how does this compare to other cards in Wild? Is it better or is it worse, or can I slot it in somewhere? And I don't see this being better than Avenge, and I don't see this being better than
Competitive Spirit.
I don't see this better than Get Down.
I don't know
whatever
where
the
its
card's
place
called.
would be in Standard, all things considered.
Well, I
what we
think
know
that
about
it's easier
Paladin,
in
what's left and
Standard
stuff.
because of all the things that we're losing. But that's interesting to me to hear both of your take on whether any of these cards are strong enough to make it through into Wild against all of the craziness that Wild has access to. I think it's okay here, especially since we got a new legendary that's going to interact with secrets as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're trying to sort of set up is say, hey, if we're going to give you a legendary that interacts with secrets, then we got to give you at least a couple secrets for Paladin this expansion. So there you go.
That being said, most of the Paladin secrets tend to suck.
They tend to, but we said that, and then all of a sudden, secret mysterious challenger showed up, and then all of a sudden they're kind of good. But we all know that the reason that was good was because of Avenge.
Well, not only
Right.
that, but also just not having to play them one by one. Like the big
Well,
thing
and it
was
thins your
mysterious.
deck,
Mysterious Challenger pulled them all out and played them, and you didn't have to like play them one at a time and have them all in your hand. And like that was the good thing about Mysterious Challenger.
What I will say is that Secret Paladin is still decent and wild. I mean, on my trip to rank 5 this month, I put together kind of a classic curve stone Secret Paladin with shielded mini bot into Paladin Shredder into all that stuff, Lotheb, Dr. Boom, Tyrion, all that stuff, and it still works. It still works very well. And so when we get new, I am looking forward to it. So we have new Paladin Legendary that interacts with Secrets trigger twice or something like that, and that's exciting.
That could be cool.
That could be super
Eve,
cool.
you want to take the next card?
Yeah, so Keeper Steladris. I know you're going to ask me already, is this a WoW thing? No, it's not. It's a Hearthstone thing. Moving on. Legendary Druid Minion, 2 mana, 2/3. After you cast a choose one spell, add copies of both choices to your hand. So not only do you get to cast the choose one spell, and it's casted, boom, then you just get like 2 versions of like both choices that you would have chosen into your hand to use again.
I love it.
I like it. I like it.
And it's only 2 mana. Like you can do this super early on and also in conjunction with a lot of things. Like you could drop this out and then just like cast a bunch of choose. Because 2 mana is very little.
I love cheap legendaries.
Me too. I think that as well, and we don't get very many of them. So it's exciting.
They're
for
generally
me.
really good.
They generally are. Well, the newer ones are. I think you're Lore Walker Cho and Nat Pagel and Millhouse Manastorm.
True.
Yeah, but yes, I agree. And even if you only play one card of this, if I play this with Wrath or something like that, like that's enough value right there that I'm happy.
You got 2 removal spells.
Right, and draw. I mean, that's great. I love it.
I think it'll be a kind of a different way to play Druid, because one of the big issues Druid has had is removal. So if you can leverage this minion to give you some more removal or give you some more draw, like with Nourish and things like that, some more ramp and stuff like that, I think it could be pretty cool. I'm anxious to see what other cards are going to tandem with this.
Right.
This particular card
How
as it
many
comes out,
cards
'cause-
are we going to see that are choose ones to go along
And it's
with
only going to
this?
get better. This is a card that I really think is on the watch list because it'll only get better as cards are released.
I agree. I think
Yep.
Druid has kind of struggled with class identity. I feel like they're leaning towards this kind of the Treant Druid, token Druid. But in the past, like, is it ramp? Well, ramp feels bad. Is it draw? Well, Druid shouldn't really draw too much.
I think it's because it's too powerful, right? Ramp and draw are like the most powerful things in the game. So if that became Druid's identity, then Druid would always be good forever.
Right? Yeah, that's true. Anyways, this card is awesome.
So, Nate, what's the next card? What's the next one?
6 mana spell. It's a hunter spell called Unleash the Beast. It says twin spell, summon a 5/5 wyvern with rush. So twin spell is you play it and then you get another copy into your hand. So I like this. I think it's good. Essentially, 6 mana is you're getting a 5 damage removal with
On a stick.
on a stick with backup refill in your hand. I think especially, I mean, I like it. My first impression is I like it. I think that the twin spell is going to be great because managing, and what we're seeing in this set is managing your resources becomes important again. And so being able to refill your hand, I like that. 5/5. I assume the wyvern will be a dragon. I don't know.
My guess would be a beast.
Yeah. Either way, good hunter synergy. I think beast probably even better synergy.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Zul'jin card, if anything. That's
With Zul'jin, it's great. So yeah,
Cool.
I like it.
All right. Eve, any further thoughts? Where we're going on? You look like you're thinking deeply.
You know what? For a second, I misread it as a druid spell. And now that it's a hunter spell, I'm thinking actually that makes a lot more sense.
Oh.
Because
All
they
right.
did, they were pushing beast and druid for quite a while.
They
trying
were,
to make
yeah.
that a thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Go ahead.
All right, next card, I should say, is the Light Forged Blessing. Common Paladin spell. Oh boy, I get another Paladin spell. Oh boy. 2 mana, so it's not a secret. Says twin spell, give a friendly minion lifesteal. Interesting. If you got a fatty up and you're playing control Paladin and you just need to survive a little longer, that could be great.
Is Blackguard still in standard?
No. That
No,
was nice
Blackguard's
of the
going out, I
Frozen
think.
Throne, I believe.
I think you're right. Okay.
See, here's the thing. Lifesteal's really good, but this reminds me of the spell in Shaman that is just give a minion Wind Fury, which is literally never played, ever. So is
Except
this...
in Wild, it's played.
It's played in
a lot
Wild,
in
but
Wild.
even then, I feel like it's a win more. Like, yeah.
It's a win faster card.
is Wind Fury better than, or is Wind Fury less good as, I speak well.
I don't
Lifesteal,
know.
is it good enough to put just a spell in your deck that gives something lifesteal?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's gonna be the
question.
question.
Is it worth a deck slot, yes or no? And I think that's what will determine if the card's good.
I mean,
I will
with
say
Twin
my first
Spell,
impression
it'd be
is-
one slot, right? Because you're going to get 2. So you might as well
That's
only
true.
just put 1 in.
My first impression is no. I don't like it, but I think we need to wait and see what other Paladin cards come out in this set. I
Yeah.
think that there is definitely potential for like a heal Paladin. There's
Right.
synergies that exist, at least in Wild. But there hasn't been enough to make a viable deck. So if they're able to, continue printing lifesteal type cards, could be a thing.
Didn't Paladin
I-
Spellstone have to do with healing?
Yes.
And it was never
Yes.
used because it's not as
Yeah,
easy to
it wasn't.
heal as, like, say, Priest, for example. And it's not even as easy as it is for Druid to get
It
armor.
was easier to heal as a Warlock than a Paladin for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So this is kind of, if they wanted to go, like you said, in a Healadin kind of way, here's your way to heal
Well,
up.
Healadin is a thing. It was when Rastakan's Rumble came out. Healadin was like one of the early decks to be tested out. And it was almost good. So maybe this put on the right minion could be decent. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I could see this in a kind of control heavy Paladin, and if you're trying to stay alive late game, you've got a couple minions on the board. You can play this twice for 4 mana and heal up.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it saves you. I don't know.
If you put it on like a big 8/8 minion, you just like get 16 health. I mean, two.
Yeah, you could do a
two
lot.
8/8 minions.
You could pull out of a nosedive
Yeah.
with this card. I could see potential for it in the circumstances. So we'll see. I mean, I think we're all saying the same thing, kind of agreement on what the card can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Eve, what do you think? What's coming up next? What's the
Messenger
next card on our roster?
Raven, common mage minion beast. 3 mana, 3/2, battle cry, discover a mage minion. Which you could just get another messenger raven and just continue on.
Infinite Ravens.
I love that they're going with the fact that ravens are such a mage beast. Even though beasts don't really have anything to do with the mage synergy at all, it's still the ravens, because of Medivh and Khadgar, are such a theme with mages, which I think is really cool. So
I like it too.
Seems like a good
Battle
value
Cry and
card.
Discover are just always good. I feel like this is a good card just because of those two synergies.
It's a very fair card. It
I
dies
agree.
easy.
I feel like Discover, I like the Discover mechanic a lot more than I like, get a random. Like, at least I get to pick.
Right.
And like I was saying before, I think this set has a lot more emphasis on managing your resources. And so a card like this that lets you refill your hand potentially is great. And so they were saying in the reveal stream that and as we've seen with other cards, with the discover mechanic, you have a higher percentage of discovering a class minion versus a neutral minion, and so like you can pull Khadgar from.
Well, it
from the
specifically
Messenger
says
Raven.
a mage minion, so it's not even going to be a neutral.
Oh no, you're right. I didn't.
I was
didn't read
wondering
that
though,
part.
have they ever said if there's a higher percentage chance of getting something in the expansion that it's in?
I don't know.
Maybe that was just an arena thing. But yeah, the fact that it's a mage minion and not a mage card,
Or spell.
no spells, right? So this is gonna be a mage body. Khadgar,
Yeah,
You could
Right.
discover Khadgar, yeah.
right?
I like it. I don't know. I mean, I wish it was a 2/3, but I don't care. I still think it's really cool.
Well,
And I
since
love
we-
the artwork. It's
Since
beautiful.
we mentioned Khadgar, we probably should. Nate, you're the guest. You can read the Khadgar card. Why don't you
Oh, sweet.
tell us
So
about that one?
Khadgar,
Nice.
I love it. It's another low cost legendary card. So legendary minion, 2 mana, 2/2. Khadgar, your cards that summon minions summon twice as many. So
Which is funny in a
what-
mage deck because they've never really been super minion heavy. I mean, there's been some
No.
decks like Mech, Mage, and Flamewalker and stuff, but it's just kind of interesting.
I mean, the thing that immediately comes to mind is what is it, Jalani or whatever you
Right,
call
Janalai.
the Firehawk.
Janalai, the Firehawk.
Double
gonna
Ragnarok.
do
So you get double Ragnaros. That would be pretty cool.
And
Dope.
Janalai is 7, isn't it? 7 mana?
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
you
does
can play
that
them
mean-
two
You can-
together.
You
Does
can't
that
play it
mean-
in Odd Mage. So
In Death DK Jaina in Wild, does that mean when you summon a water elemental, you get 2? So if you drop
Oh.
Khadgar, you ping a minion and it summons a watermelon, you get 2?
It says
is
your
that one?
cards that summon minions summon twice as
That's
many.
what I'm wondering. Like, is it?
No.
Oh no, because that'd be
It
your
would
hero
have to be a
power.
card.
I don't think
Yeah.
it'll.
Yeah, it's gonna just bloop 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 bloop. What was
But,
Drake?
but if you look at like Dollmaster Dorian,
Mm-hmm.
drop this with the Dollmaster and your arcane intellect, and draw a few cards. You can summon a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it can be abused. I think we're just looking for ways to abuse this card right now.
Oh yes.
Or a spiteful summoner could do some fun tricks.
Yes.
Or
hmm
I don't know, the 7-drop that everyone's playing in odd, like an odd control mage that pulls a minion that's as big as your hand size. I don't remember what the card's called.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no
Is it
idea.
Astromancer or something like that?
Astromancer. You're right. Yep. Or like if you're playing in Wild, you could drop regular old school Doctor Boom and get 4 boom bots for 9 mana. That's pretty good. That could be lethal if you roll it high.
I
you
love
know,
it.
Depending.
It-
I think there's
it
a lot of
could.
potential.
I love that it's a low cost minion. I mean, because it's going to be targeted to be removed right away. So you
Right.
essentially want to save it until you can use, summon some minions or something the same turn that you play this. You play this on an empty board, it's going to die right away.
Yeah.
So-
And I think that's really clever of them. The things that they want to have happen, like Keeper, Steladris, and like Khadgar, they're making them intentionally really cheap and a weak body because they
I
want
think
you to be
that's
able
good
to get
because if
the
you make it
cost
too
off.
difficult to remove, it's scary,
But
Yeah.
that's like the choice. It's either you make it huge and hard to remove, and then the person has to wait till the next turn to try and get all the stuff off, or you make it super weak and cheap and say you can just do all this in one turn because you know next turn it's going to die. And I like this choice better to make them super cheap and weak. Nate has frozen for me. Okay,
we're
there
back.
you
Hey,
are.
you're back.
We're back.
Okay.
You roboted out a little bit, Eve.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
We skipped Power of Creation, so who wants to take that one?
I got you, fam. We'll go back.
Hey, this works with Khadgar.
So it's an epic mage spell, Power of Creation. 8 mana though. It says discover a 6-cost minion, but summon 2 copies of it.
Or
So you drop this with
4.
Khadgar and summon 4.
Oh
And
yeah, ninja time.
And it's Khadgar on the artwork, which is extra fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like these two go together, like peanut butter and jelly.
This is the one they played it in the reveal stream, right?
I can't remember.
Where they got the 4/6 Divine Shield and ended up with 4 of them.
But what I want to do right now is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
look
yeah.
at the 6-cost minion pool. That's what I want to do.
Well, I'm looking at what's. I'm just kind of scanning through here on my collection of what 6-cost minions exist. A lot of them are going to rotate out.
It's Discover, so can you
You
just at least look at the 6-cost Mage minions?
Yeah, you
Because
could
those
look-
are going to
let's
have a
see.
higher chance of showing up.
We'll see. Notables are Hogger or Gadget Sand Auctioneer.
Mage.
Let's see, Mechanical Whelp. Oh, only Mage minions?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No. I'm just saying it's Discover. So
Yeah.
those ones are
You'll
going
have
to
a higher chance of
have
getting mage
a higher
minions, though.
chance of showing up. Like at least one of them is going to be a mage minion. So
Yeah.
what
Right.
6-cost mage minions do we have in this expansion coming up?
Not many for
None.
6-cost.
Which makes it more likely that they are going to show up if the pool is smaller. It's
Yep.
like
I
almost
don't think
guaranteed, right?
Well, I mean, they've only revealed a handful of cards so far, so I don't think we have any 6-mana mage cards
Illidan.
yet.
You could discover Illidan. You could discover Cairn. You could discover. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could potentially discover.
There's
but
some good
not-
value. If you pulled Cairn, would be awesome.
Oh yeah, these are
Double
all
the
sounding
Cairn,
like
double the
pretty
fun.
neat cards. So we got to watch out as the card reveals go on for a mage 6-cost minion because the
Right,
odds are
yeah.
going to be super high. You're going to see that every time if there's
Yeah, there's-
not a huge pool of mage minions at 6-cost. So that's
It'll be
really
interesting to see
neat.
what they decide to do with that.
And then with Khadgar to get
All right, Eve. What's next? Right under Khadgar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Traveling Healer, common neutral minion, 4 mana 3/2, Divine Shield, Battle Cry, restore 3 health. Weak body, but it has Divine Shield, and it's going to heal for 3. Okay, this just gives like healing to all classes.
I like the artwork.
Yeah, isn't that the Tortolin?
It looks like
Yeah.
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 They're always cute.
That's always my fallback for when I have nothing better to say.
Yeah, Rick's cute.
Like, I'm not going to play this card, but it's cute.
All right, next.
Let's see. Nate, what's that?
Is this we're on unidentified contract.
Yes.
It's a rogue epic. 6 mana, destroy a minion, gains a bonus effect in your hand. They played this in the reveal stream, and I don't remember what the bonus effects were, but
They're
I remember
right
thinking
on
they were
there.
pretty good. Wait, oh, sorry. Yes, let me look at the thing. Okay, so add a copy of it to your hand. It deals damage to adjacent minions. Add 2 coins to your hand, or summon a 1/1 patient assassin which is
It's a poison
With
minion.
stealth.
poison with stealth. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it feels strong. 6 mana feels like a lot to me, but we have prep. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think it feels fun. There's a priest spell, and I don't remember what it's called, holy water or something like that, that does damage with 4 damage, and you get a copy of whatever you killed.
Sure, yeah.
And I feel like I underestimated that card when it has been played against me. I've always cursed up and down, and like, no, I don't want you to get a copy of whatever you just killed. And so some of these effects are pretty good.
Mhm.
So I think it would be fun. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, they're
What do you guys
losing Vile Spine, so this is their 6 mana destroy a minion instead of 5 mana destroy a minion. But the 5 mana was always 6 mana anyway because you had to combo. And
Yeah.
then
Right.
this gets you
I mean,
your
But you want
bonus
a body
effect.
to stick around, though.
Yes, the body. And then
Assassinate is a
instead of-
card.
right.
Um,
But instead of the body, you have all of these other things like add a copy to the thing, or a copy of the thing you killed to your hand, or it deals its damage to adjacent minions, or the 2 coins, or the patient assassin. I think the patient assassin is the worst one out of all of them because it's a 1/1.
I do too.
It's super easy
Yeah.
to get rid of.
So there's a bit of a spectrum here of things that you'd like to have.
But we've had the unidentified things before, right? The weapon and the shield, and like this is the callback card to all
Right.
of those different things. So
Sure.
I think it's really cool. It
Yeah, me
adds
too. I
another
like
bit of randomness that's like, what am I going to get? I'm always going to get the destroy a minion. So that's a good thing. No matter what, that's going to be the first thing on the spell. And then the rest of them, it's just kind of like roll of the dice. What are you going to get?
Yeah.
For cheesy. All right, up next is the Hench Clan Burglar. We had Hench Clan Thug before. Now we have Hench Clan Burglar. It is a common rogue minion. It's a pirate. It's a 4-mana 4/3. It has Battle Cry, discover a spell from another class. I like the discover aspect. Could be super good. So if you're, our rogue is bent sort of kind of towards steal your stuff and use it against you, and this card fits it very nicely, and they even made it a pirate. So I think it has a lot of potential, and pirate rogue is fun. This could be good. I could even see that.
Sorry.
This could potentially even be in like a Kingsbane rogue in like Wild.
It could, and it's aggressively statted with the 4/3. So I don't know. I could see it being played.
You have to deal with it. You can't leave 4/3 on the board.
No, or it kills you.
And it gives you value. And I mean, if you're playing, in a deck like a Kingsbane rogue, I play a ton of that, so I can see like the value immediately. If I can discover, oh man, I win this game if I can clear his board, or oh man, I win this game if I can pull any amount of burn or anything like that, or I freeze his dudes or whatever.
And it's a spell, guaranteed.
Yeah,
I mean, you never know. You're able to pull a warrior spell or something. You can buff your Kingsbane potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, and all it says is, and I think one of the things that Peter Whalen was saying in the stream is that what the new direction that they're going with the rogue, like thief cards, is that they're not doing discover from your opponent's class anymore. They're just doing discover from another class because the rogue mirror was awful. And so I'm interested to see this card. I think there's a big RNG factor because you've got 8 other classes. You don't know what you're going to get, but if nothing else, it will be fun. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I like about it is because Rogue is a weapon-wielding class, you're never going to get a card you can't use. Because there was always the things with Priest where they could accidentally get spells from a weapon-wielding class and then have things that buff your weapon and stuff, and it would just be a dead card in their hand and useless. But with Rogue, any card you get from any class, you're going to have some way to use it, which is cool. And yeah, I remember Peter Whalen talking about how going forward, they're going to make sure it always says from another class because of the mirror, but they're not moving backwards and changing the ones in the past, which I think they should probably look into eventually to changing because it's still in Wild.
Yeah.
And Wild is the thing.
I mean, honestly, I feel like they don't play test the new stuff for Wild. I mean, they at least not thoroughly.
Yeah. They can't. They don't have
because
the time.
there are a lot of broken interactions that we see.
Yeah.
And people are already freaking out about the new legendary.
The Priest?
The one that it's a neutral. The one that looks like Wilfred Fizzlebang or whatever. The
Geppetto.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Nate, you brought it up. Let's talk about it.
I'm looking for it on the list here.
Geppetto Joybuzz, legendary.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Geppetto Joybuzz, 8 mana, 6/6, battle cry. Draw 2 minions from your deck, set their attack, health, and cost to 1. So this gives you Aviana and Kuhn. This gives you Malygos. This gives you Togwaggle and Azalina. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Not until turn 8, though.
That's true.
But those decks always function late game anyways, so what does it matter?
Yeah, that was kind of my thing. At least it's late enough game that it's not like within the first 4 turns, a la Barnes.
That's
true.
You
all of a sudden are dealing with things. Yeah.
I think this will be used and abused. I don't. Whatever. I'm going to use it too. So
Druid's going to be back to tier 1 in Wild. This card will put Druid back to tier 1, I think.
Well, I think that they also like cards that force you to make a deck a certain way. And if you want to completely get like the best possible reaction out of Geppetto Joybuzz, you're going to have to craft your deck a certain way. And then you also have to draw him and play him on turn 8.
Right. Well, I mean, what I do like about this, and I think there are a lot of people screaming, the sky is falling, but you will have to build your deck around this card, and it's slow, and it's not an instant win in the same way.
And if you draw all of those cards before you draw Geppetto Joybuzz and you have no minions left in your deck,
nope, then it just feels bad.
Yeah.
Remember Spiteful Summoner?
Oh, yeah.
The time you draw your 2 big ones and it was like, there's nothing left to draw out.
Draw both Ultimate Infestations and then draw a Spiteful Summoner. It feels super bad.
Yeah. Or priest sitting there, I got to play a Spiteful and I've got both mind controls in my hand. Like, cool.
Yep.
All right, my turn. All right, here we go. This is another legendary minion that is super interesting. Is Heist Baron Togwaggle. It's a legendary rogue minion, 6 mana, 5/5. Battle cry. If you control a lackey, means got to be on the board. Choose a fantastic treasure, which is from Kobolds and Catacombs. It's Toland's Goblet, Zarog's
Mare and the Fox, right?
Mare and the Fox, yep. Zarog's Crown, Wondrous Wand, and Golden Kobold. The first one, Toland's Goblet, is draw a card and then fill your hand with copies of it. The second one, Zarog's Crown, is discover a legendary minion and summon 2 copies of it right on the board. The third one, the Wondrous Wand, is draw 3 cards and reduce their cost to 0. And the last one, the Golden Kobold, is a taunt minion, and it has Battle Cry, replace your hand with legendary minions. All very strong. This particular card has received an interesting amount of attention based on its, let's say, tawdry artwork in the featuring of Togwaggle's. I'm gonna say
I see it as a joke, okay? Right? Just because of the Jaina thing. Is it just me, or do I think that this is all just a reaction, kind of tongue in cheek, because they gave Jaina a chemise and now they're like, look at Togwaggle, his big gut is hanging out. Like,
I think it's
am
that
I
he's
wrong?
Anatomically overly correct. That's what I think it is. I mean, nobody said Jaina wasn't anatomically correct. It was like, okay, it's fine, whatever. It was just a little bit too revealing, maybe a little bit too much for like new players and kids and stuff like this. But Togwaggle's like, hey, baby, you want a piece of this? I mean, it's all hanging out there, man. I've been cracking up because Slissa, a streamer, who I follow and want to get on the show sometime, but she's constantly like, this needs to be edited. She's just beating that drum over and over.
Didn't she put a purple shirt on him, right? Did you see that?
Shirt. She did it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, there's a good
laugh.
Photoshop edit of it. I thought that was pretty funny.
This card's good because 6 mana is not that much for a minion like this. Potential.
This does require you to play the lackeys, and I'm kind of undecided about those, although I think they're mostly
I love them. I want them to be a thing. I mean, they're 1-cost 1/1s, which just triggers all of Rogue's combos, so that's good, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, and the flavor is so strong in this set so far.
Yeah, I want them to be a thing.
So
much.
I like, and I think that this card is pretty easy to trigger. And the treasures are very good.
Very good. Game winning, even. I saw Trollden today where they were playing this. They did a Mare and the Fox thing. I think it was it was purple and orange were playing. It's funny that they play together, giving them both colors. Purple and orange were playing, and he got the goblet and filled his hand with naturalizes. He had like 8 or 9 naturalized and just naturalized the crap out of like a Paladin weenie board and overdrew him like crazy. And they were just laughing because of just the absurdity of what they could do. And I'm like, that's why I love Hearthstone. I would hate to lose to that, but you gotta say, man, it's so fun.
Sometimes they do something so crazy like that, it doesn't even feel that bad to lose to. You're just like, wow.
True story.
But I think that all of these things that they do fit really well in the rogue archetype.
Yep.
Draw a card, fill your hand with copies of it. Like we've had, what was it, Thistle Tea before and different things like that, which really work well.
Thistle Tea and Mimic Pod.
Mimic Pod, yeah. Discover a legendary minion and summon 2 copies of it. We saw on the reveal stream, I believe they did that with Van Cleef. Mm-hmm. So that's really good. Draw 3 cards, reduce their cost to 0. Like, that's also really, really good for Rogue.
Some of that stuff is like game winning. Yeah.
It can upset a game real bad.
Like, there were different classes I could see where draw 3 cards and reduce their cost to 0 is like, I'm going to put a bunch of minions on the board. Yeah. But you give that ability to Rogue, and it's like, look out.
Well,
now you really got to... Be careful.
I've made a covenant with myself that whenever a new set opens, I get all the rogue cards because I just play rogue. That's what I like to play, and rogue is just my jam. And so it's like I'm gonna have this card, and I'm gonna try and abuse the crap out of it day one. So
Yep. And it definitely has the fun factor.
that's why I like it.
So
yeah.
I'm glad that the card art will appear small on my iPhone, so I don't have to be
right.
impressed with the girth that is Togwaggle.
Yes.
So
The one other thing that I heard was that Togwaggle finally got the golden kobold.
you got the golden kobold.
Like, yeah, he has all these treasures. Like, you're getting them from him. So
Okay. I see.
he got
So he
Toland's
got the
goblet
treasure,
and Zarok's crown and the wondrous wand and the golden kobold. Like, how did he manage to get all this stuff?
He stole it from Dalaran. Got it.
there you go. You see, he has what is on his head? Is it a safe or
No,
a
it's
hat? There's like a
it's a-
top hat on top
It's
of
a little candle
a
protector.
candle?
It's like a
Oh, it's the candle. It's like a safe.
Yeah.
Like, he's
It's
the
got his
king.
candle
He's
in
the,
it?
Like a little
the
lantern.
smart
It's like a
one
crown.
because he wears a lantern around his candle so people can't blow it out. That's how he
Yeah.
became king, because he's the only kobold that was smart enough to protect his candle.
The top hat on top of the lantern is funny. For me.
Yes,
That's true.
all kobolds
Okay,
must
so
have.
are
Go
we-
down. What's next, Nate? What's next?
Wrench caliber.
Like
Yes.
Excalibur, but
But with a
wrench
wrench.
caliber.
More wrenchy.
Right. So that's a warrior weapon, 4-mana, 3/2. After your hero attacks, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's
Deal.
deck. So when it's drawn, deal 5 damage. This new archetype for warrior, the bomb warrior, whatever we're gonna call it, is very exciting for me.
I love
And,
it.
my
and,
interest
let's quickly
immensely.
tandem this card with the cards that kind of go with the theme, like the Clockwork Goblin, which is a
Yeah.
rare warrior minion mech, 3-mana, 3/3, so vanilla stats. Battlecry, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck when drawn and explodes for 5 damage. And then tandem that with
Blastmaster Boom.
Blastmaster Boom, legendary warrior minion, a 7-mana 7/7, like the traditional Dr. Boom. Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 boom bots just like the old days, but for each bomb in your opponent's deck. So, you got 2 bombs in there, you get 4 boom bots. You got 3
Right.
bombs in there, you got a board full of boom bots and a Dr. Boom, and it's Dr. 7/7/7/7/7 with an echo. Okay?
All right. I think people will start playing Sephorium Bomber again.
Yes.
From Boomsday.
Yep.
It will still be in standard, and so it's a 5-mana 5/5 shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. So that'll synergize nicely.
So
I'm just loving the flavor. Like, this is the first time I'm excited to try an archetype for warrior,
this is a
because warrior
really
generally has never done it for me.
This is possibly
Yeah, and I don't really like
This is
warrior. So
this is
exciting.
possibly one of the most unique things they've done in a long time, because kind of like the darkness, you're shuffling stuff in their deck that they don't really want to be there. And so if it's a deck that cycles fast, they're just
Yes.
sealing their own fate.
Right? Like Rogue.
And so there's a certain it is kind of built around RNG, right? Because they don't know when they're going to draw the bomb. And those boom bots can do anywhere from 1 to 4 damage. They're the exact same boom bot as from GVG.
Right.
And Dr. Boom is the same, except for just a slightly more stringent condition. But gosh dang, if you have 2 copies of Wrench Caliber, 2 copies of the Clockwork Goblin, if you're running Iron Juggernaut, if you're running all those...
Augmented Elec, right? It says when you shuffle something, shuffle 3 extra
right,
copies.
that's still a card in Standard, right?
And it just really punishes decks that are greedy, like
Mm-hmm.
Warlock, who's tapping a return and doing damage to themselves
Right.
every turn and doesn't have a ton of heal, is risking, do I tap and possibly take 5 damage? Or do I get that card that I'm looking for? And that's risky. And then Rogue, who in the past has used their face to remove things and gets their life total quite low and also draws a lot. They're risking every time they use their cards to draw things. So it really punishes people who don't have a lot of heal and do draw a lot of cards.
Right. The thing I like about this is that it's not like an instant win either.
Yeah.
Like this is
You got to survive
Um,
still.
Right. And so, I mean, it feels good to me. I like that kind of strategy where it always feels bad to lose to an OTK deck where this is like, it puts you on notice or puts you on watch that like, ooh, I got to be careful, but it's not like the game's
Yeah,
over.
they don't do a bunch of stuff on the turn
and then we
you
see
die.
cards that can totally disrupt this as well. So like your Archvillain Rafam, replace your hand and your deck with legendary minions.
Yep.
So like all those bombs that are in your deck, well now they're legendary minions.
Thank you.
And so there's some workarounds. I mean, I'm very excited.
I love that
for
point
it,
about
though.
that counterplay with Rafam, because I was just thinking, yeah, dude, Warlock's toast. But no, if they have Rafam, that'd be all right. It's pretty sweet. I'm excited
think
to
it
play
would
this.
be
This
really
is a day one thing
cool.
for me. Day one for me playing this.
Me too. Yeah.
I think it would be really cool now that we're talking about this if they made a minion that was like the Paladin secret that says get down.
Yes.
And then it was a minion that was
yes.
like, if a bomb explodes out of your deck, this minion takes the damage.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
Just like sacrifices
I
itself
assume that there will
to protect
be-
you from the bomb.
There you go.
But it'd only
I mean,
take,
I do
like,
think
one
that there
hit.
will probably be some counter play to this that we just haven't seen yet. Would be my guess. I guess we'll see.
Unless it's just for FOM. Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe they've just kind of mathed it out that this deck will be hard enough to pull off that it won't be just do all of the bomb things and you win. It's going to be like a weak enough deck that in order to get you to survive long enough for the person to die to all the bombs and all the things is going to be difficult enough that they don't need to make too many counters to it.
Okay, so before we go on to the next cards, I got to ask sort of kind of weird question about Blastmaster Boom. Is anybody confused by the way they changed the art direction on Dr. Boom? Because Dr. Boom used to kind of look like he was more of a goblinly looking guy, and he was in when they released the hero card, and now he looks like a mech. He's got like mech armor on or something like that, and some of the art direction for the set is changing his appearance in a big way. And honestly, I kind of not the biggest fan of the particular art that they chose for the card. I don't know what you guys' thoughts, comments.
I still have a hard time with Dr. Boom as a warrior card in general. Like it feels like Dr. Boom doesn't feel like a warrior to me. But
they had to put him somewhere.
And I get it with the art direction as well. I mean, I'm used to playing the classic 7-mana 7/7, and I mean we were using it in everything. It was just such a good card. You fit it everywhere. And it was different. I mean, I guess Dr. Boom always felt very imposing to me. 7-mana 7/7 feels big, and then you see him and he's like this little tiny goblin. I'm like, what? And then he's in a big mech suit, and then he's in this Iron Man armor, and I don't. It feels weird to me. I mean, the card, I love it, but I agree with you, and the art direction feels kind of odd to me.
Well, Dr. Boom first, when he was created, was supposed to be a playoff of Dr. Doom.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So his whole look was very exactly what Dr. Doom's outfit looked like. And I think they kind of had to choose a hero for warrior, and it was like, he doesn't fit in any other class.
No, he doesn't. You're right. I mean, I thought about that as well. Like, well, if he didn't go in warrior, where
he's
would
not
he go?
overtly warrior.
He doesn't fit in rogue. And well, the thing
No.
with warrior is that, like in World of Warcraft, they're fully outfitted with tons of armor and huge shields and massive weapons, and so that way it goes with Dr. Boom.
Okay.
Is that he's got this
Yeah.
full mech suit and he's got these big, huge weapons and he's very aggressive and he's very attack.
Okay.
So that does go along with warrior. Just the whole goblin thing is sort of its own thing. Like in GVG, goblins versus gnomes, the fact that goblins and gnomes are very technologically, like they're always creating things and they were always neutral characters. I can see how that can kind of be a disconnect between warrior and goblins, but like they had to choose somebody to be the hero for warrior, and he's so iconic and he didn't fit anywhere else.
Makes sense.
So that's where he goes. Yeah.
I'm getting used to it. It was kind of a hard sell for me at first, but
that was very similar to what I thought too. Okay, well, speaking
Yeah,
of
can
Dr.
you think of
Boom-
somebody else that would have been a better one?
No. I mean, it was sort of like it was sort of the leftover, but it makes sense if you kind of think about what they had to work with. So, but speaking,
well, and it fits the theme, right? Because they were trying to do villains from each set, and he was the key character from the last set.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So
Dr. Boom's
moving on.
scheme, which is one of the scheme cards, which means it upgrades each turn, is a common warrior spell. It's 4 mana and it's gain 1 armor. So after every turn it's in your hand, it's gaining an armor. So if you're playing one of those long control warrior games, man, they just got worse if you're playing the mirror. And you both have that, and you can
Now,
suddenly
this is
get 30
where-
armor out of nowhere.
This is where I agree with you that Dr. Boom makes no sense with Warrior. Like, after everything that I just said, Dr. Boom giving you armor, especially along with the card art, which has
I
him
was
and a
gonna
whole
say-
bunch of bombs.
It makes no sense.
This card
There's such a
kills me.
disconnect. I am so sorry, Hearthstone, but I gotta be honest. It would make way more sense if it was have 1 boom bot. And then the next turn, 2 boom bots, and the next turn, 3 boom
Right.
bots, and the next turn, 4
Right.
boom bots. Like, that would make a ton more sense, even if you didn't know where the boom bots were going to go.
Yeah.
But armor,
It's sort of
Yeah.
a dumb
like,
thing,
did you change
what?
this halfway through? Did you actually have
I
it be
think
1
so.
boom bots and then decided that was too OP and you couldn't do it? Like this is, it makes no sense
you
with
know what?
Dr. Boom. It makes no sense with the
Based
card
on
art.
the mana cost, if I had to guess, based on the mana cost and the card art, I think it used to say shuffle 1 bomb into your opponent's deck, upgrades each turn,
and that would be
and then
too-
and then
no, that
and then
would
they
have been
go,
awful.
and then they said this is too OP, we
Yeah.
can't do this. Switch it to
Yeah.
armor, which doesn't make any sense, especially based on the mana cost and the card art. Like it doesn't fit well. But
I think
the
getting
good
1
solution
boom bot would have been better.
I agree. That would have been fair. It would have been fine. I think it would have fit. And for me personally, when I play the game, I read all the cards early on, but then once you start playing, I don't read what they do. I know what they do based on the artwork.
Yeah.
And so looking at this, it's very counterintuitive to me. I would never, I look at this, you don't think armor, you think bombs. There's nothing but bombs there.
My guess is
Which do damage. They don't protect you. They don't give you armor. They do damage to both sides. Yeah.
I would love to hear the designer insight on this card because I agree with you. I think something
yeah,
changed.
this is a
I think that
Do
1/1 boom bots would have been too similar to Rafon's 1/1 imps. And so maybe that's why they didn't go in that direction. And they just had to put something out. I get it. But this was, you should have changed the card art at least. Even though it doesn't make sense with Dr. Boom at all because there's no way he gives you armor. He does the opposite.
No. I mean, so the Dr. Boom hero card, I love the rotating hero powers, and one of them is
7
gain
armor.
7 armor,
7,
8
yeah.
armor.
But I feel like they just threw that in because it's warrior, right? It doesn't make sense for Dr. Boom.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, this card is very weird to me. It doesn't fit. I'm yeah.
Well, what's
Anyhow.
what's next?
Yeah, let's move on. Evil Cable Rat. This is another battle cry add a lackey to your hand, but it's a beast.
Cool.
So next,
Yep.
we already did Clockwork Goblin. You went over that because we were talking about Shuffle of Bomb cards.
Nate, what is the one? Read that salty card. Read that thing. Let it.
Oh dear.
That card that I can.
We are
taste
there.
It.
We are
I can
here.
taste it, the bottom of a bag of Fritos, right here.
Okay, wait, we're on
Mass.
Madame
No.
Azul, was that right?
Mass.
We're on Mass Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm in a different spot.
I'll read it
on
while
the
you
cards
look.
here. Let me just
while you
scroll
locate
up.
then.
Oh yes, I salty posted about this myself. Mass Resurrection is a priest card, 9 mana, rare spell. Summon 3 friendly minions that died this game. All the big priest players are rejoicing, and all the people who have lost sorely to it are crying right now. And I personally, my initial reaction was like a full-on PTSD trigger. Oh God.
No.
But the more I think about it, and I have ridiculous hat telling me to calm down. And
After you took a breath and had a nap and took a Xanax, then
The
it costs so much. So like a lot of the good stuff is leaving standard.
Mhm.
And this costs 9 mana. Like this is a build your deck around type of card.
Mhm.
I mean, this will pull your Velen, Prophet Velen, and Malygos, sure.
You like
But,
N'Zoth. Like N'Zoth, you said is one of your favorite cards.
It is.
And he's 10 mana.
Yeah, but
And this
that's
is
different.
9, and that has a body, and this does not. Like,
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, this is a build around. It's really slow. I don't know that it will go in wild. Maybe a one of in
Well,
Big Priest.
I don't
know.
think this card is actually good. At all.
I think it costs too much, and it's probably too slow. Like by the time you get here,
you
not
probably
only
have played a
3
decent
minions
amount
have
of
to
1
have-
and 2 and 3 drops, right?
Yeah, and this is a build your deck around type of card, and by the time you get here, you have to have 3 good minions die. Like you're gonna be dead by the time you play it. I think. I don't know. We'll see. But my initial reaction was like, oh my god, more resurrection effects. But the longer I see it, I think
It could be. I think it's fair. I think it's a lot more fair than people have because here's the thing: you can't tandem it with Resurrection Stone and Standard. You don't have Eternal Servitude, so that hasn't been getting in the way. You don't have Resurrection. In Wild, I think it's still too slow for Big Priest because the Big Priest list is refined. So what do you sub this in for?
it is.
Nothing.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what it would
Because
be.
Big Priest loses bad to early games. Like Big Priest can, unless they high roll you. Like I love playing Big Priest when I'm playing Rogue because as long as I keep a sap in my opening mulligan, they're gonna lose because Barnes ain't gonna win them the game, and they're not gonna beat me before turn 8 or 9. You know what I mean? For the most part. So
Right.
it's, I don't think it's as good, but I think people were just like, well, they were not mad about the card. They're mad about the lack of, I think, innovation on the Hearthstone team's part. Like, really? Summon 3 minions again? You know what I mean? We've seen this
I think
before.
that they have PTSD. I think, just like Nate said, there were quite a few people whose gut reaction to it was, oh, no, more. What were you thinking? But they're trying to establish class identities. They're trying to get down to what does it mean to be a priest. And I mean, the core of a priest in World of Warcraft is healing and resurrecting.
True.
So it's on brand. And then they made it, fair enough. 9 mana, like you said. And by the time you get there, 3 friendly minions, you're going to have 3 things you want to save your butt at this point to have died before this point.
Yep.
So you're already
Right.
losing?
Yeah, I mean, maybe in Wall Priest it would work with your 2/14 Divine Shield. Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
It feels
there's
awfully
a fair
slow
amount
to
of
me.
counterplay
So
to what it can do, I think. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it. Now, I say that now, so I hope I don't have to eat my hat. Next card is...
There's a certain amount of trust we're putting in Blizzard to say, this has been a problem in the past, so we believe you've tested this, right? You've tested this? Yes.
Well,
Bronze Herald. Common Paladin minion, Dragon. 3 mana, 3/2. Death Rattle, add 2 4/4 dragons to your hand. Remember back in the day when they were trying to make Dragon Paladin a thing? And how long it took to make Dragon Priest a thing? I would love it if they were trying the same thing with Paladin and we're just going to keep adding dragons and eventually it's going to be
I hope
a
so.
thing.
I'll never forget. I mean, we have that 5 mana 5/5 dragon that reduces the cost of your next dragon by 1
Yep.
in Wild.
Dragon
and
Matriarch,
it's been
I think it
unplayable
is.
for years because
Yep.
it's been unplayable for years because there's not enough dragon support.
for Paladin.
So we're very, very slowly getting there for Paladin.
Paladin, yeah.
At least class dragons. So I'm excited, and this again it's just more value. So getting a refill of 2 4 mana
That means you can play a
4/4s.
dragon on your next turn, which is cool.
Right.
We have follow-up.
Well, here's the next one that goes with it. Dragon Speaker. Epic Paladin minion 5 mana 3/5 battlecry. Give all dragons in your hand +3 +3.
4/4/7/7.
So those 4/4s.
Where have we seen that before?
Hey. So, yeah, somewhere Brian Kibler is rejoicing
Yes.
to have hand buff and dragon in the same card. And I'm I don't know, it feels understated to me, and I'm very wary of hand buff because I
It's never
feel
worked.
like it's
Yeah, it's never
unreliable.
worked.
But
Well, it's a weak
but
body. 5 mana, 3/5. You have to play that, and then it's not doing anything immediately. It's only doing things to things in your hand. So you have to play those things as well on top of
Yeah, it's not a
5
curve
mana.
card. It's a late game value card.
No.
I'm outvalue you because I've been dealing with your stuff.
Yeah.
it's definitely slow, but I think it pairs well with the new legend. Reno Dragon.
Reno
Whatever his
Dragon.
name
Well,
is.
let's-
Right. Nazari, the legendary paladin minion, which is a dragon. 10 mana, 4/12. Battlecry, restore both heroes to full health. So same thing as Tree of Life,
Right.
except for it has a body, and the body is a dragon.
Yes.
yes. So that could be good, especially if you play. What's the paladin card that turns all your health to armor?
Oh my
Do that.
gosh.
Yeah, the
The call,
call.
High Priest, the call. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, in terms of a healing paladin, and in terms of like,
I mean, this is 10 mana, so no worries. It's not going to happen
Well, and
until
potentially
you hit 10.
this could be a 7/15.
Oh, right, because of the buffs.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Tis true.
I like this card.
Nazari, by the way, for all those people out there who are talking about Nazari, is in World of Warcraft. She is a bronze dragon from the Bronze Dragon Flight. Her human form is actually blood elf, female blood elf form, and you can see her in the caverns of time. Sorry, so she's a female dragon.
Cool.
Man, dang that dragon androgyny, man. Makes us so confused.
Right? You can't
Can't
really
tell.
tell.
All right, let's see what's up next. I'm scrolling. Let's see.
Where are we?
We
Geppetto
just talked
Joybuzz,
about
so we
him.
kind of already talked.
Hedge Clan Hogsteed
Yeah.
would just say Hagsteed. I guess that's my Midwestern accent coming out a little bit. Common neutral minion. Now you can't do it if you're not from there. You can say Hogsteed. Nobody can do it unless you're from there. Common
No,
neutral
wanna
minion
be
beast. It's a
try.
2 mana 2/1 rush. Death rattle summon a 1/1 Murloc. So it's it's a bluegill warrior on a stick and kill a minion, and then you get a Murloc on the board. So I wonder if this will fit. This could fit in maybe some hunter decks, maybe some Murloc shaman decks. Who knows?
I just loved like the flavor of it, of like it's coming in riding on the back of this
Backwards.
hog, and then it just like bashes into something and dies, and the Murloc falls off.
What happened? So
Oh yeah.
I could see it in a hunter deck. People have been using the hyena quite a bit lately with the other rush cards.
oh yeah, that's
So
hyena. I predict a nerf before the next set on hyena. Hyena's gonna get nerfed if it becomes a problem.
yeah, I could see that.
Okay, Nate, what's the next one?
Yeah, Varisa Windrunner, Hunter Legendary, 7 mana, 5/6, Battlecry, equipped Thorol, the Star's Fury, which is, I need to refer to the notes, a 3 mana, 2/3 Hunter Weapon. After your hero attacks, gain spell damage +2 this turn. I'm excited about this card. Number one, Eve can talk about the lore. I love the artwork. It's super cool. I like the flavor of it. It's very different. I could see this working a lot of different ways, but I think it's fun and it's a different take on Hunter. I'm anxious for my friend Duin to figure out creative ways to use and abuse this card.
Yeah,
so
Duin is gonna have a field day with some of these cards. I follow him and pay attention to what he's talking about most of the time. So Eve, the only thing I don't like before getting to the lore of this card, why do I care as a hunter? I'm trying to decide why I care about spell damage +2. I'm thinking kill command right off the bat. I'm thinking like explosive trap now does 4, things like that.
Oh, we just
But
got a
that's
new
reactive.
hunter card. Marked Shot. Common hunter spell, 4 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion, discover a spell. So it's only minion damage, but then after that you get to discover a hunter spell.
So you can do 6.
So that's going to make you a bit more spelly than hunters normally are.
Yeah, okay, all right. It's like, I mean, there's that application. I don't
I
know.
don't know. It's interesting and it's new. I mean, I've heard a lot of complaints from people about, oh, they're rehashing old stuff. I'm like, this is new. This is cool. It's
Yeah, spell
different.
damage has never been a thing in Hunter, so it's definitely an interesting direction.
It's definitely different. And if nothing else, I mean, we'll throw Vol'jin in this deck probably, and I don't know. Hey, I mean, I almost consider this a one of those kind of throwback cards because we're getting a legendary weapon out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
It reminds me of Medivh a little bit, or I don't know, any of the legendary weapons.
So like
really.
like Tyrion gives you the
Oh yeah,
what is it? I'm blanking on the names. The sword, Tyrion's sword can kill Arthas with it. What is it? It's must be getting late.
I don't
Yeah.
feel bad about this, but you should
I
feel
do
bad.
feel
I've failed. I failed horribly. Corrupted. What is it called? Now you're putting me on the spot, and I can't think
I'm
of it.
Googling.
It's gonna hit me. Well,
'Cause Darian Mograine had it, and then Tyrion took it, and
we'll remember it when we're not trying to like rack our brains.
frick.
So what's
Anyway,
the story behind
moving.
Marisa Windrunner?
It's the Ash. It's the
Ashbringer.
Ashbringer, right?
Yes.
Ashbringer.
Yes.
There we
I was
go.
gonna say the
Thank you.
Woe Cleaver, but I knew that was not it. So
Oh, so sad.
Eve, so what's the story behind Marisa Windrunner? Like, how does she relate in the WoW world?
She's one of the 3 Windrunner sisters. The other one that we have in Hearthstone called Sylvanas Windrunner, and then Valera Windrunner
Does
is
she mean
Hunter.
Illyria?
You're right. Illyria.
I'm excited to see the interaction between when you're using the Illyria Hunter hero and you play this
to
card.
say hello, sister.
Yeah,
And
they'll do
Sylvanas
something like
too.
that, right?
Absolutely.
They have to.
They better.
I'm pretty sure she says hello to Sylvanas when you drop Sylvanas on the board. She says hello, sister.
Maybe.
Illyria.
I thought about it, to be honest.
I have Dwayne just sent me a deck yesterday, a Death Rattle Hunter with Sylvanas in it. So I'll report back.
Who did I say the other sister was? Did I say the rogue?
Is there? You said Valera, but Valera Sanguinar is her name, right?
Yeah, that's the Illyria.
So what's
sorry.
the story behind
so-
Thoradal? Like, is there anything special in WoW about that weapon? Anything cool about it, or is it just?
I don't know. I'm going to have to research it. Like, before I do my lore moments, I usually do a ton of research because it's not just all encyclopedia in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that she married Ronan.
Yeah.
And so she has been in Dalaran for practically the entire time we've known her in World of Warcraft, kind of like beside him. And a part of the Blood Elf faction. Well, no, sorry, not Blood Elf, but like High Elf faction that never sided with either side. They remained neutral, and they were actually on the Alliance side for a while as well. So, like, the only time you see like visually Blood Elf looking creatures that are on the side of the Alliance or neutral, because all of the rest are with the Horde. And then when Ronan got killed in World of Warcraft, she sort of went on a through grief and anger, had like a dark period, sort of the same as Jaina did, kind of dealing with the death of her husband, and then sort of had to pull herself back because she has a son, and had to be like, am I going to be this person in front of him? Am I going to turn to anger and hatred, and then he's going to get that growing up and see that as an example for him? And how would Ronan have wanted me to behave, and things like that. So she sort of went through a dark period where Sylvanas was like, come to the dark side, we'll get revenge, we'll, hurt all the people that hurt you, and kind of thought about it for a minute and then went, no, wait, I don't want to become like that, and turned away. So that's kind of her story. There's a lot more going on there, but I don't know much about Thoradal, and I'll have to do some research before I can get like a full lore moment out of it.
All right. going to run down these next two because they're just evil cards. EVIL capital. There's Evil Conscriptor, which is the common priest minion, 2 mana, 2/2, Death Rattle, add a lackey to your hand. So it's another lackey minion. Evil Genius is a common warlock minion, 2 mana, 2/2, Battle Cry, destroy a friendly minion. We've seen this before, but instead of adding 1 lackey to your hand, you add 2 random lackeys to your hand. So we're gonna see how that plays out.
Is this a lore thing with the on the Evil Conscriptor? That's the same type of character or what it being from the Cthulhu set. I don't know what it's
What
called.
are those guys
anymore.
called? I saw the art on that. I meant to ask about that now that you bring it up. But
Let me see.
well, I mean,
Keep going.
they look kind of
I'll look
like
it up.
buggish looking things with like the big overcoat, the red stuff.
It's the one. It's like one of the Cthulhu cards that we never played because it was bad.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look in your collection under Cthulhu, it'll come up. And I can't find it.
Yeah, you can find them in like Encourage,
Mm-hmm.
in World of Warcraft, and they do work for the old gods. So it's really odd that they put it on a priest card, except for the priest legendary is Madame Lazul, and she comes from Whispers of the Old Gods. So there, you've got it tied up.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Well, and then the third one, I missed it. It doesn't
here.
say an evil card, but the Sludge Slurper is a shaman minion. It's a 1 mana 2/1. Battle Cry, add a lackey to your
And
hand.
that's a Murloc, isn't it?
It is a Murloc. Yes, it's a Murloc, so there's that synergy there. But it adds a lackey to your hand, but because it only costs 1, it overloads you 1. So that's the way they decided to balance it, is you get that good old shaman overload. Shaman overload. Always not fun.
We haven't seen it in a while. There's actually been quite a few cards that we've liked in Shaman that didn't have overload.
Yeah.
So
Nate,
there's
what's
that.
the next one? All right.
Sorry, I'm over here.
You're
Cthulhuing.
Cthulhuing. All right. Eve, you got it handy?
You're sucked into a vortex of old god stuff. Crystal Stag, epic druid minion. It's a beast, 5 mana, 4/4, rush, battle cry. If you've restored 5 health this game, summon a copy of this. So by turn 5, you're going to have restored 5 health, which is not that easy in Druid because they do, giving yourself armor, but not so much healing yourself. So it's kind of like you just get a 5 mana 4/4 on turn 5. But if it's a late game card and you're playing this late game, then you might actually get 2 of them,
Could be good. Could be real good.
which increases its effectiveness the later game
I think
you play
Rush
it,
makes
probably.
it very interesting.
Yes.
So it's removal. Cool. All right, and let's see here. Up next is Crystal Power, common druid spell, 1 mana. Choose 1. Deal 2 damage to a minion or restore 5 health.
Wait, there's your 5 health restoring. You just have to do this and boom.
For 1 mana, yeah, boom.
You
So
get
on turn 6,
2.
you get 2 stags, and you can maybe help remove something bigger than that, or you can take the health. And if you play this with the legendary, you get copies of spells that do both of those. So
Yeah, you can do another 5 heal and also the 2 damage.
So what is that? 3
That's
mana
right.
for that stuff? So, I mean, that Crystal Power could be pretty darn good. The artwork's pretty cool in that one too.
I think it's going to see play for sure. I mean, choose 1 stuff, especially if you have an option of healing or doing damage to a minion. Those are both really good options. And then if you play it with Crystal Stag, it suddenly becomes something doable.
So, Nate, the next legendary Warlock card, I'm curious. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Okay, Fell Lord Beetrug, however you pronounce that. It's an 8 mana, 5/7 demon. Whenever you draw a minion, summon a copy with Rush that dies at the end of the turn. This will be used and abused. I haven't quite figured out how yet, but it will. I'm very interested in this. There will probably be some randomness to it. You can play this on turn 10 and tap, see what you get. You can use this with Solarium. That'd be kind of crazy. I think especially in Wild, it'll be good with a lot of the like your Void Walker, Void Caller type synergies. Or so yeah, we'll see. Plus, it's a demon, so it's got
It seems like it's asking a
that synergy
bit
going
from
for
you.
it.
Like it seems good, and then you start thinking of like the steps you have to go through to make it good. I think it's debatable.
It does cost a lot. Yes, I agree. I think that this one probably requires a deck build around, and it's kind of RNG reliant. This one will show up on Trolled In, and I don't think that probably it will fit into most decks.
Yeah.
But in the right circumstance, it could be kind of fun. You'll end up accidentally pulling a Doom Caller from it.
I can't wait to hear what he says when you drop him. Like,
right? It's got to have some really cool animation. It looks very spiky.
and
Well, in
foreboding.
World of Warcraft, he says things like, "Such insolence, we will make your death terrible and your suffering long." And our hatred knows no bounds. Yeah, he is in World of Warcraft, in Violet Hold,
Okay.
which is basically a prison inside Dalaran. And in World of Warcraft, you fight him because he's trying to break out of Violet Hold and like stage a coup from inside Dalaran.
Okay.
Cool.
So this actually
flavor,
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. We were all predicting that there'd be something to do with Violet Hold, and it wasn't very huge, but this happened. He's a character from it. He's one of the last bosses that you fight in the Violet Hold, the assault on Violet Hold. So
Neat. So up next is a very interesting card. It's called Hecklebot. It is a rare neutral minion. It's a mech. It's a 4-mana 3/8. It reads Taunt, Battlecry. Your opponent summons a minion from their deck. So this is a callback to Deathlord, which was a 3/8 taunt minion that summoned a minion from your opponent's deck after it died. This one
Feels like Dirty Rat to me.
feels like Dirty Rat, except I wonder if it's better or worse. I can't tell because when you drop it,
I mean, it's different stats,
but when you
right?
drop, see the thing about Deathlord that was cool.
Deathlord is from your deck, and Dirty Rat is from your hand.
Yeah, and the thing about Deathlord is you could drop it against an aggro deck, and they had to do something about it with whatever they had, so you could kind of predict and bank on it more. But when you don't know what they're going to summon, like, oh, I see you put a taunt down. Well, thanks for putting my big fatty out. I'm just going to smash it in the face, and you're dead. So I don't know.
yeah, but think about it this way. After they've removed your Deathlord, they get something big out, and now there's nothing standing in their way. This has taunt and has 8 health. So when you accidentally summon their big fatty out of their deck, you have a big taunt sitting there in the way that will protect you for maybe at least one turn if it was an accident and not something you wanted to bring out. So I just love the flavor of Hecklebot being like, come on, bring it on. And then like this minion comes out of the deck and he's there to like deal with it.
Oh,
I would love it if it had like a sound effect that, depending on what it dropped. You know, when you
your
drop
mama
a big
is
fatty,
a snowblower.
when you drop a big fatty on the board, the board like it stomps down and there's all dust comes up or something like that.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love it if
Penguin.
if you drop this guy and it pulls like big old King Crush or something. If it had a sound effect like oops, or like uh-oh.
Like depending on the stats of whatever it pulled out, that would
and,
be
he,
awesome.
great.
and he laughs and makes like really obnoxious sounds if it's like a weenie minion or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I got this.
Yeah, the Nelson laugh.
I'm gonna take you to
Yeah.
school.
Okay.
So yeah, this is one of the ones we were talking about that can mess with people's combos. Like
It's
all
very
of the hate
disruptive,
that was
yeah.
happening around like one-hit combos, like OTKs. These are the kind of cards that will totally mess with that.
Yep.
Yes.
So Eve, what's coming up next?
Walking Fountain. Common Shaman Minion. 8 mana, 4/8. Oh, it's an elemental. Lifesteal. Rush. Wind Fury. Now, I love whoever pointed this out. I'm sorry I can't remember your name on Twitter. I'll have to look it
I
up.
saw it too. I know what you're talking about.
But the name Walking Fountain didn't immediately make sense to me. But I was looking at the picture and going, I've never seen an elemental that looks quite like that. That is a huge nose. What are we looking at? And then realized that the fountain in Dalaran looks like this shaman elemental. So basically, Hagatha brought the fountain, like the statue in the fountain in Dalaran to life and made it attack Dalaran.
Cool.
It's a
Yes.
it's like the equivalent of a big seal or a walrus in World of Warcraft.
Mhm.
Like what would you call it, Nate?
I don't know.
Like there's these big animals on the shore of like Northrend and stuff that I can't even remember what they're called, but yeah, it's the equivalent of like a big walrus or a huge seal that are on
sea lion?
the waters. Yeah, like a sea lion. And for some reason, in the middle of Dalaran, there's a big fountain there where you can fish for pennies or you can fish for little goldfish. And there's a statue of this big, like, seal with a big mane of hair in
I
the
just put it in
statue.
the Discord chat. You can see it from WoW.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. There it is.
What it is, I don't know, but yes, it's definitely straight from the. So the flavor of this set is so good. Like we would have never known that. And same thing with the Fell Lord Beetrug. Like how, like just as like me, casual
like Easter
player who
eggs.
never played WoW. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Cool beans. All right, up next is the Muck Morpher. It's an epic shaman minion. It's a 5-mana 4/4 battle cry. Transform into a 4/4 copy of a different minion in your deck. That's going to get abused.
Cough, Malygos, cough.
Malygos Shaman, baby.
Well, it's shaman,
What are the things?
but it could be anything.
Yeah, so it just depends on how you set up your deck, but I think could be good.
Yeah, I think
Did
so
you
too.
notice in the background of the card art the tiny little mucklings, which were like
Yes.
cards that were summoned by like that lifesteal minion? What's it called? It's like a 4/8 something that has rush, and when you summon it, it summons little mucklings that you for your opponent, and they're kind of looking at you like, "What the heck? What is that?"
To me, I read this card and then I saw that it was an epic card, and I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because epic cards are generally, it might work and it might just be so situational and it might be too tough to pull off and it might
Yeah,
be
it's-
too expensive and badly statted and it might be, you know.
Yeah.
I've dusted more epic cards than any other cards, just trying to get enough dust to make a legendary that I want. And they're usually the first ones to go because they give you a good return on your dust. And a lot of them are meh. So I might be wrong, but I'm going to put my neck out there and go, Muck Morpher's not going to see play.
I mean, it could be. It'll be fine. I think there's some way to abuse it because it's like a recruit of sorts, right? And if it's got a good,
Yeah.
it's got a good aura. If the card it recruits has a good aura on it, then you're in good shape. But if it doesn't, well,
Yeah, but it's 5 mana, and no matter what, it's going to be a 4/4 body. So
It's a build around. I mean, it'll be. I think at least in Wild, it'll see fringe play in like your Malygos Shaman, and it won't be that good. But in the right situation, maybe.
okay. Let's see.
I like
Nate,
the next.
what's the
one.
next one?
Paladin Legendary, 3 mana, 4/3 Commander Risa. Your secrets trigger twice. I am looking forward to bringing back Secret Paladin, especially in Wild. I think this is fun. I can just picture my Avenged going off twice, or my Get Down going off twice, or whatever. Can you imagine
Competitive
like
Spirit going off twice.
turn 9, like you drop this with Mysterious Challenger? Like that's just gross,
And if they kill it because I can't have that, well then it'll just come back to life because it'll resurrect.
right? It'll resurrect twice.
Oh, and then it'll stack. That could be good
Can it?
I'll
I don't
bet you
know.
it'll stack.
I mean,
because if it triggers
That'd be
twice
crazy.
and then it triggers twice. Oh, I wonder. Does it stack or does it just say twice? Period. Twice is twice, no matter how many.
no, I think it's just twice is twice.
So that's a question. Does this card stack? Yes or no?
But I like it. I mean, I'm very happy with these low cost legendary cards. So it's exciting for me, and I like the effect.
Definitely.
here's something that they haven't done before. In World of Warcraft, gnomes cannot be paladins.
Oh,
And they drew the art. The art's a gnome, a paladin gnome.
In the past, everything that they've had on the art of their cards has been canon in World of Warcraft, things that are able to be the different classes. And this is the first card art that we have of a gnome paladin, which is not possible in World of Warcraft. So the World of Warcraft forums are going, is this foreshadowing the fact that they're going to let us make gnomes into paladins in World of Warcraft?
why couldn't they? I mean, why didn't they in the past? Was there a reason for it, or just
Well,
not a thing?
just the same thing as with Hearthstone, they tried to have identity with the different races. So different things that didn't make sense. They wanted to have certain races that didn't have access to certain classes. So you had an important choice when you chose what class you were going to play and what race you were going to play. And so there are very few, especially to begin with, that were able to be paladins because that specifically had to do with the race's belief in the holy light. And there were a whole bunch of races that didn't, like, that wasn't a part of their religion. It wasn't a part of their culture to follow or believe in the holy light. So this is kind of interesting. It's either a mistake or they actually know more than we do as being part of Blizzard, and going forward,
Cool.
they might have access to paladin classes. So
that would be fun.
that's interesting.
All right. Next one is Ray of Frost. It's a common mage spell. It's a 1-mana twin spell. So it means when you cast it, you get another one. Freeze a minion. If it's already frozen, deal 2 damage to it. I've seen this card before, but haven't seen it in twin spell form. So, okay.
I saw a post on Twitter from Dean Ayala saying that this card was surprisingly powerful. Like, don't underestimate this card. It's surprisingly strong.
Maybe in tandem with some
Oh,
other
because
things.
my first reaction was like,
Yeah, me
But-
too.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see how that turns out. I wasn't planning on using it, but maybe I'll change my mind later.
I'll wait and see.
Dean Ayala, like, if there's anyone, I would trust his
He
judgment
plays, so
on the
he,
power of
you know,
cards.
he's not just
Yeah.
sitting behind a desk.
Right.
All right, Eve, what's coming up next? We got to try and wrap it up because we're past 2 hours.
Mana Cyclone. Another epic
Oops.
card, so we'll see how this one goes over. Epic Mage Minion Elemental, 2 mana, 2/2, Battle Cry. For each spell you've cast this turn, add a random mage spell to your hand. I like this. I like the way it works, but it is very, thanks for making it 2 mana, so the chances are that I could have cast another couple of spells before this on one turn.
It's
And
lottery
then
mage.
for each one, you get a random mage spell. Yeah.
Play
Yeah.
that.
This is like the Priest Legendary, except for
Lyra.
just one turn Lyra, and not out there forever and not into infinity.
Yeah, it's very similar to it. So I mean, it adds a random mage spell, so that could be good. And if you're just wasting cheap ones like Arcane Missiles or this Ray of Frost, like it's okay. Okay, we'll give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So, Nate, what's next?
Okay, next up on the list, it is Unseen. It's
Batterhead,
Batterhead. Okay, they're on a slightly different order on those here. So Batterhead is a neutral minion. It's an epic minion, 8 mana, 3/12 with Rush. After this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again.
Yay!
This is real interesting for me. I don't know. I don't know what I feel about this. It feels like it's very expensive, but I feel like it could be like something in Wall Priest, your Divine Spirit Interfire type thing, or like pulling this with that one dude
Oakheart?
that I can never remember the name. Yeah, Master
Oakheart,
Oakheart. Could be kind of crazy.
So on turn 9, play a Master
Um,
Oakheart, pull this guy, clear his board, and have a decent board.
Yeah,
Okay.
why not? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It feels very
It's
expensive.
good against weenie decks, right? If you don't have a lot of
Mhm.
AoE to get rid of all of their minions, and you can just go boom, 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 kill 3 of them probably before your Batterhead dies.
Anti-Shaman, anti-Paladin
But
deck right here. So it's anti-token
Yeah,
deck.
we have had before minions that were, if it attacks and kills, it gets to attack again. We've had those in the
Right.
past, and they haven't worked out that well. So
They've not
I
been
think it
that
was-
great.
just Hunter.
I could see this going in your like wall priest type of deck. Like if this is something that you want to resurrect, um,
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
maybe.
go back to that Paladin
It has
card where
rush.
you can put lifesteal on it. Boom.
And it continually attacks and you get, multiple hits out of it. Yeah.
That'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool.
That'd be interesting.
Well,
And I mean, it has 12 health and 3
so you
attack.
can get some
So-
longevity out of its existence. So that's
Yeah.
so it could be good. Could be good, especially if you buff it. So maybe in a buff Paladin deck, this could be a pretty sweet card. So next one is
that's interesting.
Katrina Muerte, legendary priest minion, 8 mana, 6/8 body. At the end of your turn, summon a friendly minion that died this game. So it's like Kel'Thuzad Light. Except
Yeah.
this game,
yeah.
it's not just the turn, or what was on the board.
The Twitterverse is losing their minds over this one. I don't know. Yeah, this will be interesting.
If you're only rocking good
But
minions,
again, it's turn 8, so that's late enough that it's not, too hard to deal with. It has 8 health, so it's probably going to be hard to get rid of, so that's good for people who want to play it. Summon a friendly minion that died this game means you don't have that much control over
Yeah.
it. Like at least with Kel'Thuzad, you knew what was coming
Right.
back because it
What
was
was on board.
the same ones that were on the board. But this one is like the entire game. You have no idea what's coming
Yeah.
out of that, which makes it a little
requires
weaker.
a specific build.
Yeah.
it's interesting though. I mean, I don't know what will come of it, but it's an interesting card.
Yeah, I agree. And this is something that your opponent plays, and you're going to want to kill it right away before it gets out of control.
All right.
But
Yep. Like it.
So the next is Shadowy Figure. Eve, what's that one about?
Epic Priest Minion, 2 mana, 2/2, Battle Cry, transform into a 2/2 copy of a friendly Death Rattle minion. So when it comes out, you have to choose a friendly Death Rattle minion that's already on the board, and then it'll transform into a 2/2 copy of that.
So copy your cubes, ladies and gentlemen, in Wild. Oh boy.
It is a Priest minion, so only playable in Priest.
So
That's okay.
Geppetto pulls out 1/1s. You drop Velen, 1/1 Velen. You cube it. Then you copy this. You copy the cube with Bro.
No, that's too much setup. That's too many things
And then
happening
you-
going on.
I'll just play it on my Sylvanas.
Steal their entire board. Seems there is application in this minion. I know Duan's like, ooh, ooh la la. I know he was talking about. He was looking at this one earlier.
Yes.
It is epic. It's one of those ones where it's like it needs a lot to work.
Yeah, it does, but I think it can be abused. And I think we're going to see some great Cholden in the future on this one.
Oh yes.
This next card
Yes,
I
yes,
love a
agree.
lot, but Nate, you're going to read it. But this,
Oh, me too. Okay, this is a neutral epic minion, Unseen Saboteur, 6 mana, 5/6, with a battle cry. Your opponent casts a random spell from their hand with targets chosen randomly.
They could
I
fireball
absolutely-
themselves in the face. They could.
They
Pyroblast.
could.
Think
I
big.
absolutely love it. Although the thing is, so it pulls from their hand. So this is your kind of dirty rat scenario where you play it kind of cautiously. I mean, you have to hand read a little bit, or we'll see. But I like it. I like it a lot. And can you imagine, because targets are chosen randomly, like, especially if there's a big board, that fireball is going to hit a minion instead of your face, maybe. That pyroblast could go back and hit their own phase.
But like non-directional
there's-
spells still function as normal. So if it's a flame strike, it still flame strikes your board, right? Just maybe not when you want it.
Yeah,
to.
but here's the thing. Like, you make them play it before you do a huge board. Before, like, when you
Right.
know that they've been holding on to a card for the entire game and it's a part of their combo and you can force it to be played. Like, just the fact that it's a neutral minion and you have this option to go, I've noticed you've been holding on to this card for a really long time. Let's just play it before you want to.
So get those mind blasts
Yeah.
out before they can get the combo set up with Velen. It's like, oh, it's a shame.
Yes.
Your mind blast is only going to do 10 damage, and Shadow
Well,
Vision doesn't
what
exist
happens when
anymore.
it?
Or sap. Like, you used your sap now, and now I'm going to put my
Yeah,
big heavy minion
yeah.
down because you don't have the sap
Ooh,
anymore.
I don't like.
Well, what happens when it plays? You use it on a discover spell. Like it's going to give them a random one. Like they're
It's
not
going to
gonna
give
get
them the
choose,
first one
right?
of the options, I think, is what it does.
Okay,
I'd be willing.
so it's very disruptive.
I would be
love
willing
it.
to say
Oh,
this
yeah.
is possibly one of the best cards of the set. in terms of its application
Yeah.
and its ability. It's a tech card, especially. But I mean, it's got
And
a good
here's the
body,
thing,
though.
it's not too badly
Right.
statted. Remember how people complained so much that there was no downside to playing Big Game Hunter? That everyone just put it in their deck? I feel like this might be one of those cards that everyone just does because it's that good and there's no downside.
Yeah, the stats are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep, it can do. It can,
They might see a nerf just because it's going to be put in everybody's deck.
well, but I mean, it's really one of those kinds of things that you really only want to play when there's a lot of combo decks running around. So, was the complaint, right? Like, oh, everything's
But it's
combo
just like
decks. Everything's combo
Lotheb
decks.
was just like in everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so good against so many. Yeah, there might be a couple decks you see that it's no good against because they're highly minion based, but the times that you come against something where their end game is playing this spell and then you have the option to pull it out of their hand early, it's just too good.
It's pretty good.
I don't see a downside.
All right, we got one more card, and then we're going to wrap it up, folks, because we have had a doozy of an episode. We are going
my gosh,
at 2
2
hours and
hours.
11 minutes. We haven't done this in a while, Eve. Nate, I blame you.
Duel. Duel.
It is probably
with
my
an
fault, yeah.
exclamation point.
Okay, duel! Exclamation point. Is that's like on guard? What is it, Nate? You can wrap us up. You get the last word here.
All right, this is a Paladin epic spell. 5 mana. Summon a minion from each player's deck. They fight.
Fight! It's exclamation. They fight! Yeah!
That's awesome.
Hey, this is rad. It's more disrupt. There's a lot of disruption type cards in this series so far, and this is fantastic. I feel like this is gonna land in some control Paladin deck, and it's gonna pull out one. I love this because it's gonna pull out somebody's battle cry card that isn't gonna trigger. It's gonna pull out their Geppetto Joybuzz or Varisa Windrunner or one of these with a pretty good battle cry, and
I'm just going to run around with all
Well,
poison
here's the
minions
thing,
on my
like-
deck and just do that.
Oh
Every minion's
my
a poison
gosh,
minion.
that's such a good plan. Oh, it's a paladin, so that goes along with what you can put in your deck, but it's each player's deck. So you don't even have to worry about, I can't play this because they have no cards in their hand, or I play it and they don't have a creature in their hand and it just fizzles, or I know exactly what I'm going to pull out of my hand because I can see what's in my hand. Like, you can't play around any of those things. It's deck. So
it will be interesting.
That's cool.
Yes, and I can see it backfiring. I mean, this is another Trollden type card. Like it could go sideways, like really bad. But I think it will see some sort of. I'm going to try it at least and see how it goes.
Well, if 5 mana summon a minion from each player's deck, that's even just for you. You're summoning out a minion. If you know what's in your deck and it's a big minion and it's probably going to survive whatever they bring out, that's just a way to summon like a huge minion out of your deck.
Yeah. Well, and Paladin's got a bunch of Divine Shield stuff, so
Good point.
it could it could be kind of okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Hey, do you think we're getting Millhouse Mana Storm reboot tomorrow? Like, if you scroll all the way up on the page to show the
I hope
reveals?
so, because I'd be down with that.
Because that kind of looks like, or Wilfred Fizzlebang, one of those.
Some powerful gnome. Let's see here. Let's see. Taint March 29th. Oh, it's still March 29th, but we're past the card reveal times here.
Oh my gosh, you're right. He really does look like
Wilfred, yeah.
a callback to one of the gnomes for sure. And they are doing a lot of callback cards.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm going to guess it's
Do you
going
think
to
we'll get-
be a warlock card.
It could be was it Wilfred Fizzlebang? The one where you draw, the cards that you draw from your hero power cost 0?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a fun callback. I guess we'll see.
We will see.
Not Mill
Do you
has
think
Mana
we're-
Storm, please.
Because we're getting the League of Evil and we're getting callback villains, do you think we'll get additional hero cards as well? Like, not hero, but like Khadgar, for instance, or do you think we've seen them all already? Like, do you think we'll be getting like a new Medivh, or a new variant.
I don't think that they want to give everything all at once in Rise of Shadows because they have 2 more expansions coming, and they said the lore and the theme is supposed to go across all 3 of them.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. This could be the League of Evil. Like, this is the Rise of Shadows. The next one will be like
the Dalaran Defenders.
Yeah.
Defenders Dalaran, or something like that.
I like the Dalaran Defenders better. It sounds like a sports team.
My team beat your team. Yeah. Well, it's very American of you, Eve. I'm surprised.
But we have sports here in Canada? What are you talking about?
I know you do.
Yeah, you guys have that one where you push the thing with the brooms, right?
Curling? Are we talking
Curling,
about
yes.
Yeah.
But America, USA won curling, men's curling in Korea. So just saying.
All right. Thanks for rubbing that in. The salt's in the wounds.
All right, hey, well, I think it's time to wrap up the show. We've got a 2-hour show on our hands, and so our friends who listen to us at work or have long drives and commutes somewhere, they're going to really appreciate this episode. So hopefully, our dulcet tones and our subdued senses of humor will entertain you or have entertained you along the way. Nate, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate you being here, man, and just helping us kind of see these cards through your lens. And if people want to follow you or just see what you're up to, where can they find you?
Sure. Yeah. I'm just active on Twitter these days. It's at NateWolfeHS. It's NateWolfehS on Twitter. Mostly wild Hearthstone stuff. And I just hit Dad Legend these days. So rank 5. And I usually will post my decks and deck codes and stuff like that. But you're welcome to follow me there. I'll always respond or whatever. So I'm happy if people want to reach out. And please check out the Wild podcast, Into the Wild, that Craig and I did for a long, long time, and now is being run by my good friends Saucy Mailman and Danny Donuts.
Yeah, they're good people. Good show. Definitely knowledgeable, and I'd recommend that as well. Eve, where can people find you?
I think it is a safe on Heist Baron Togwaggle's head. I think he's upgraded from the lantern to a safe. And now his candle's in a safe and no one's going to blow it out ever.
It looks like a safe, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does. I think you're right. I wasn't looking at the picture at the time, but now I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a safe. That's hilarious. You can find me on Twitter at Loremaster Eve, and I promise that the lore episode will be up very, very soon. I was just really picky about the editing, and I just wanted to get it absolutely right and perfect. So it will be up really soon for those of you that want to listen to the Knights of Lore episode that I did with Hat on The Last of Us. And I will do a warning again. There is explicit language. Don't listen to it with kids.
Cool. And if you want to find me, head on over to Twitter at WatchmanHS. I'm posting all the stuff. I repost all the things Hearthstone. If you want to friend me in game, Watchman #1140. Been clearing out some of my friends' stuff because there's some people who just never say hi, and some of you guys just don't play Hearthstone anymore. Shame on you. So
if anyone's over a month, I take them off.
I got room in my friends list, so that's good. Anyways, let's see. Eve, you want to sign us off, and we'll call it a night.
Thank you for coming and being on the show with us today, Nate. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks again for having me.
Not all who wander are lost. Good night.
I foresaw this. Did I miss it?